Chapter 6118. That's right. Shangwani is a talent. With him presiding over the Chamber of Commerce, there shouldn't be any problems. The only thing we need to worry about is the supply. You're trying to say that the wormhole exit is controlled by the center, so it's not safe for us to purchase goods from a secular world, right? Lin Yi immediately understood what Han Jingjing meant. In fact, this was what he was worried about. After all, the agreement with the center only lasted for a year. If they could not control the wormhole exit, the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce would only be prosperous for a year at most. By then, the center would still monopolize the business. That's right. But as I said just now, in the secular world, other than the stable wormhole exit in the center, there are many small wormhole cracks. Although most of them are very unstable, the biggest one can barely be fixed. I believe the situation on Heavenly Island should be the same. If we can find a fixed wormhole crack on Heavenly Island and find a way to strengthen it, we can turn it into our own wormhole exit. As soon as Han Jingjing talked about this, her little face immediately lit up. Lin Yi even felt that she had a comprehensive plan. Sure enough, before Lin Yi could ask, Han Jingjing waved at Wang Ba in the corner. This guy had been paying attention to their conversation. As the saying went, know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never be defeated. If he wanted to secretly plot against Lin Yi and Han Jingjing, of course, he had to know more about them. So when he saw Han Jingjing waving at him, he immediately came over with a smile. Master, what can I do for you? Wang Ba had vaguely guessed what Han Jingjing was thinking, but it was still very necessary for him to play dumb now. If he was too smart, he would not live long. How did you enter the wormhole? Do you remember the location? Han Jingjing's question was just as Wang Ba had guessed, so he was not surprised at all. Boss Lin, he knows about this as well. I activated the mini portal that I had prepared earlier, but Boss Lin, he followed me in. The mini portal that could only transport one person at a time was overloaded, so there was an irreversible error. I was seriously injured and was thrown into the wormhole. If I wasn't lucky, I would have been dead. Wang Ba pretended to sigh and avoided the main point. Boss Linny, you should know about this too. You should have been prepared for this. Linny nodded. What Wang Ba said was the same as what he knew. When a mini teleportation formation was damaged, it might have opened a wormhole crack, so Wang Ba appeared in the wormhole space. Does that mean that there might be wormhole cracks on that island? Linny rubbed his chin and asked uncertainly. At that time, although his divine sense was greatly restricted, he still scanned most of the area and did not find any wormhole cracks, so Han Jingjing's guess was reasonable. But if he really went to look for it, he would most likely be disappointed. Brother Linny, we'll know if there's one or not when we go and take a look. With Wang Ba leading the way, it'll be easy to find it. If we really find a stable exit, we'll have a chance to suppress the Chamber of Commerce in the center. Han Jingjing was very interested in wormholes, so she was not willing to give up on any possibility. Naturally, Linny would not reject her. Moreover, he had his own ideas about wormholes. If he could really find a new exit, he would be more confident in fighting against the center in the future. It's not that we can't go and take a look, but the defense formation on that island has been completely damaged. There was also a sea monster tide at that time. If we go there now, I reckon we'll only see ruins. We might not be able to find any useful clues. Lin, he felt helpless. The interior of the island was completely supported by the formation. Now that the formation had been destroyed, it was hard to say if it could still maintain its original state. Even if there was a wormhole, it would definitely be inside the island. Given the current situation, it was difficult to enter the island, let alone find a wormhole. Wang Ba volunteered and raised his hand. Boss Lin, Master, I set up the formation on that island. If it's not too badly damaged, I can still repair it. As long as the defense formation and the concealment formation are repaired, the sea monsters won't attack for a while. Once the formation is repaired, we can go deeper into the island to look for what we need. All right, if that's the case, go and repair the defense formation on the island first. We'll look for you later. Han Jingjing made up her mind. With Wang Ba going back to work on it, the interior of the island would soon see the light of day. Linny thought about it and didn't say anything. It had been so many days, and the sea beast should have left by now. It wouldn't be a problem for Wang Ba to go alone. Although the original formation was destroyed, the foundation was still there. He just needed to fix it and it could be used again. Don't worry, Master. When I do things, I will definitely do it beautifully and properly. It won't take long for the entire island's array formation to be completely repaired. Wang Ba patted his chest as a guarantee out of habit. At the same time, he began to think if he could take this opportunity to trick Han Jingjing and Lin Yi while he was setting up the formation. Forget it. I haven't recovered from my injuries. In a situation where I'm not strong enough, even with the help of the formation, I might not be able to kill Han Jingjing instantly. As long as I give her a chance to breathe, she can kill me instead. Moreover, Lin Yi knows a lot about formations. If he finds out something is wrong, we'll be in big trouble. I'll let them live for a while longer. Wang Ba thought about it again and decided to wait for another opportunity. At least his primordial spirit had to recover more. There was another reason why he volunteered to repair the formation. Wang Ba had been relying on the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid to survive for a long time. It had almost become his most indispensable treasure. Lin Yi had taken all the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid the last time he went there. There were only 2 drops left, and Wang Ba did not have time to take them away. He was eager to go back now for the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid. It didn't matter whether the 2 drops Lin Yi left were still there or not. Wang Ba was a scheming person, so he would definitely leave something for himself. He had already hidden a bottle of Xianhai soul-condensing liquid in a secret place. There weren't many, only about 30 drops. Since he had set up a concealing formation, no one would be able to find it unless they used their divine senses to search repeatedly. Although it was only 30 drops, it was more than enough to heal his injuries. It could also ensure that Wang Ba's primordial spirit could use it for the next 10 to 20 years. Chapter 6119. If he wanted to take back the dark sea, soul-condensing fluid that he had hidden, he could only go to the island alone. If Lin Yi followed him, wouldn't his efforts be in vain again? There's no need for that. Boss Lin Yi, you should keep Master company. You haven't seen each other for a long time. Spend more time together. It's just a small matter, and I can handle it by myself. If Boss Lin is interested in formations, we can talk about it when we're free. It'll definitely be more interesting than doing this boring mending. Wang Ba waved his hand with a smile on his face. He rejected Lin Yi's kindness in a euphemistic way. He even used Han Jingjing as a cover to show that he was considerate of Lin Yi. Lin Yi raised his eyebrows and looked at Wang Ba meaningfully. Although this guy did not appear to be too eager, he still seemed to be a little strange. It's okay. We'll go with you and watch you do the mending. That way, we won't have to run back and forth. Han Jingjing originally wanted Wang Ba to go alone, but she suddenly changed her mind. Wang Ba was indeed a smart guy, but Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were not idiots either. They could tell that something was wrong just from the slight unnaturalness. That works too. I'll be more motivated to do things if Boss Lin Yi and Master can watch me. Wang Ba had cursed the two of them 1,000,000 times as hard, but he could only keep a smile on his face. He dared not show any hesitation. Don't take back the dark sea, soul-condensing fluid that you've hidden. I don't believe that you 2 little bastards can keep staring at me. Wang Ba clenched his teeth in hatred and started to flatter Master Lin again. He thought to himself, if I can't kill you now, I'll drown you with my flattery first. Lin Yi did not bother with this guy. Since he had decided to go back to the island, there was no time to lose. Han Jingjing was back, and he would go to the South Continent after making some arrangements for the affairs on the island. He wondered how Languza was doing in the South Continent. Tiandan Pavilion had been quiet recently, but Han Jingjing could deal with that later. Since Tian Shan and Sydney had nothing to do, Lin Yi brought them, Han Jingjing and Wang Ba, to the island. The will of heaven had been cultivating in seclusion ever since he got the follow-up mental cultivation method of the creation battle tactics. So Lin Yi did not disturb him. After they left the center of the island, they got on the UFO and flew toward the island at high speed. When he returned to this small island, it just so happened that the tide was low. The part of the island that was exposed to the sea was in a very bad state. After all, It had been attacked by so many sea beasts at the same time. After the defensive formation was broken, it was already not bad that it had not dissipated. Boss Lin E. Master, I'm going to repair the formation now, Wang Ba said respectfully. When the two of them nodded in agreement, he left the flying saucer and landed on the island. He was thinking to himself, what kind of celestial device is this? It's so awesome. Looks like the owner is not simple. I better not act rashly. Lin Yi's divine consciousness was locked on Wang Ba, watching him repair the formation base. Since he did not have high-quality formation flags, he could only replace them with ordinary ones that he could buy. The effect was naturally not as good as before, so he could only make do. Brother Linny, are you suspecting that there's something wrong with Wang Ba? Han Jingjing asked curiously. She was Wang Ba's master, so she could know what he was doing at any time. Lin Yi's divine consciousness might not be as convenient as hers. If Lin Yi needed it, she did not mind watching Wang Ba at all times. This guy is not an ordinary person. He's a real tortoise. Also, it's not easy to set up such a plan. Don't let your guard down just because you can control him. Lin Yi smiled. He could not help but think of you, Yi, when he said this. Although you, Yi, and Wang Ba were two different people, they felt inexplicably similar. Yes, I won't let my guard down. Han Jingjing nodded solemnly. She then opened her eyes wide and watched Wang Ba attentively. If this guy wanted to secretly retrieve the Xianhai soul-condensing liquid, now was definitely not a good time. No matter how secretive he was, he could not escape Han Jingjing's surveillance. Actually, I'm quite interested in this guy's Tao of formations. The myriad amplification formation diagram I obtained from him will produce different Tao of formations according to everyone's comprehension. So if I can study his methods and train of thought, it will be beneficial to my Tao of formations. When the ghost told Lin Yi previously, he did not quite believe it. However, after studying it for a period of time and communicating with the ghost, he finally confirmed that it was true. Although almost all of Lin Yi's formation skills were taught by the ghost and could be said to be of the same origin, the myriad amplification formation diagram could still produce a completely different direction of formation skills according to their understanding. In this aspect, the value of the myriad amplification formation diagram had far surpassed the subsequent mental cultivation methods of the creation battle tactics. Tian Chan and Sydney were not very interested in Wang Ba and formation skills. Instead, they were very fond of the flying saucer. At this moment, they came over and said to Han Jingjing, Jing, this flying saucer is very beautiful and comfortable. Is it suitable for Lin Yi to have it alone? Can you make one for us when you have time? That way, it'll be convenient for us to come and go in the future. No problem. When a matter of the wormhole is settled, Jing will make one for everyone. However, the materials may not be easy to find. Brother Lin, you will have to solve that. Han Jingjing looked at Lin Yi with a smile while paying attention to Wang Ba. Lin Yi, did you hear that? Hurry up and find all the materials. Otherwise, you know what I mean. Tian Chan waved her little fist at Lin Yi. Her cute face was full of threat. As for how powerful it was hard to say. Lin Yi pretended to be surprised. He shrugged and said, otherwise what? I don't know. You don't know? I'll kick you. Tian Chan immediately revealed her true colors. Then, she remembered that there were two good sisters by her side. Her pretty face could not help but blush. Sydney could not help but laugh. She knew that Tian Chan liked to talk like this when she was with Lin Yi in private. However, she would not do this if there was someone else around. Today, she blurted it out because she was happy. In fact, it could be seen that she did not treat Sydney and Han Jingjing as outsiders. All right, Lin Yi's a busy man. He doesn't have time to look for materials for us. He'll just pay attention when he gets the chance. Shueli shook her head with a smile and said gently, yeah, is your little mistress feeling sorry for him? Or do you want to just stay in Lin Yi's flying saucer? So you don't need your own flying saucer? Tian Chan was a little embarrassed just now. She immediately dragged her good sister into the water. That's what you get for laughing. Chapter 61:20. Lin Yi could not help but smile. He had been adventuring and fighting for a long time, and he suddenly realized that this kind of funny scene was the most attractive to him. The three girls did not take Lin seriously at all. They chattered and laughed, and Lin, who was sometimes implicated, was also enjoying it. Unknowingly, the defensive formation below was almost repaired. After a slight fluctuation in the air, Lin knew that the island had a certain level of defense again. However, it would not be able to withstand the attacks of sea beasts of the same level as before. A third of the sea beasts would be enough to break the defensive formation easily. Brother Lin Wang Ba has started to clear the passage to the inside. Should we go down? Han Jingjing had been paying attention to Wang Ba's actions, and she was quite satisfied with the efficiency of this primordial soul puppet. Yes, let's go down and have a look. Lin nodded. Clearing the passage was not a troublesome task. He had already checked with his divine sense and found that the inside of the island had not collapsed. Therefore, it was much easier to enter than he had expected. The four of them got out of the UFO. After Lin put it away, they walked down the passage that Wang Ba had cleared. If Wang Ba was alone, he wouldn't even need to clean up when he was in his primordial spirit state. He could go deep inside and retrieve the hidden Xianhai soul-condensing fluid. Unfortunately, Lin and Han Jingjing were following him, so Wang Ba didn't dare to make any sudden movements. He even wanted to hide in a place where he didn't want the concealment formation to be destroyed. Unfortunately, life doesn't always go according to plan. The last attack by the sea beasts had caused severe damage to the interior of the island. Although it didn't cause a large-scale collapse, some of the non-defensive formations that had been set up inside were inevitably abnormal. Among them was the concealment formation that Wang Ba wanted to hide, the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid. Not long after they entered the passage, Wang Ba's divine sense discovered that his treasure, the jade bottle of Xianhai soul-condensing fluid, was completely exposed outside the concealment formation. Although it did not have an obvious aura, as long as his divine sense swept over, he would definitely discover it. Wang Ba's divine sense could detect the jade bottle, so could Lin Yi's divine sense. It was impossible to continue hiding. How lucky. Boss Lin Master, I suddenly remembered that I still have a bottle of Xianhai soul-condensing liquid here. Just half of it will be enough for me to recover from my injuries and serve Boss Lin and Master better. Of course, this Xianhai soul-condensing liquid belongs to Boss and Master now. It's up to you to decide how to use it. Please wait a moment. I'll go get it right away. Wang Ba knew that it was impossible for him to hide the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid in front of Lin so he decided to make it clear first. If he did that, Lin and Han Jingjing would not want to take the jade bottle. Han Jingjing didn't know what the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid was. She turned to look at Lin with an inquiring look in her eyes. Anyway, as long as he was here, she could save time and effort, and she didn't need to make any decisions. Lin nodded slightly at Han Jingjing with a knowing smile. It turned out that Wang Ba had been so secretive just for this bottle of Xianhai soul-condensing fluid. To be honest, Lin already had a lot of Xianhai soul-condensing fluid, so it didn't matter if he had more or less. However, since Wang Ba wanted to play tricks, Lin thought it would be good to play with him. That's fine. At least you have some filial piety. Go and get that small bottle. Lin waved his hand casually. He didn't mention anything about healing half of his injuries. Instead, he followed Wang Ba's lead and took the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid as his own. Bastard! You're really black-hearted and greedy. This is my Xianhai soul-condensing fluid. Are you addicted to robbing others? Just you wait. Don't let me get the chance. I'll definitely rob you of all your things. Wang Ba kept cursing in his heart. The smile on his face froze for a moment, but he soon recovered and continued to nod and bow. Boss Lin, Master, please wait for a moment. I'll go and get it right away. Wang Ba's heart was bleeding, but he had to pretend that he was willing. With a swoosh, he passed through the stone wall and flew to the place where the jade bottle was hidden. With Han Jingjing watching, Lin wasn't worried that this guy would hide anything. In fact, it was true. It wasn't that Wang Ba didn't think about using part of the jade bottle first, but no matter how much he wanted to use the Xianhai soul-condensing fluid to recover his primordial spirit, he didn't dare to open the jade bottle secretly. After all, Lin Yi and Han Jingjing were watching him with their divine senses. If he wanted to die, he wouldn't have waited until now. After a while, Wang Ba returned to Lin Yi and the rest with the jade bottle in his hand. He presented the jade bottle to Lin Yi respectfully with both hands. Although Han Jingjing was his master, she obviously listened to Lin Yi, the bastard. Wang Ba knew that very well. Instead of pleasing Han Jingjing, it was better to please Lin Yi and make Han Jingjing happy. Boss Lin Yi, this is the Xianhai soul condensing fluid that I've been hiding. Please accept it. Wang Ba pretended to be in pain. If he was still happy, it would arouse Lin Yi's suspicion. In fact, Wang Ba didn't need to pretend. He was acting himself. He was really in pain. He only hoped that the bastard Lin Yi would be kind enough to share some of the Xianhai soul condensing fluid with him. Very well, you did a good job. As a reward, I'll give you a drop of Xianhai soul condensing fluid. If you perform well, we won't mistreat you. Lin Yi took the jade bottle and gave it to Wang Ba after thinking about it. He wanted to tease this guy, but Lin Yi didn't have much time, so he didn't want to waste it on such a boring thing. Therefore, he only gave Wang Ba a drop of Xianhai soul condensing fluid as a punishment. If it wasn't for Wang Ba trying to play tricks on him, Lin Yi wouldn't have been so stingy. At the very least, he would have let Wang Ba recover his spirit first. Now, as he said, it all depended on his performance. Thank you, Boss Lin Yi. I'll perform well. I won't let you and my master down. Wang Ba hurried to use the drop of Xianhai soul condensing fluid. He was afraid that Lin Yi would go back on his words, so he kept thanking him. Although it was only one drop, it was still something. Moreover, the effect of this drop of Xianhai soul condensing fluid was not inferior to that of the evil spirit king in the secular world, except that it didn't have any new skills. Wang Ba's mood improved a little as he felt that his soul's injuries were getting better. He looked at the jade bottle in Lin Yi's hand and thought to himself, I'll take it back with interest for now, since I'm leaving it with you. Chapter 61-21. Soon, they arrived at the triangular stone room. Without Lin Yi's instruction, Wang Ba had already started to recreate the scene of teleporting using the miniature teleportation formation. However, the miniature teleportation formation was completely damaged. Time was one thing, but materials were another. Fortunately, Wang Ba's previous teleportation distance was very short, so it did not matter if he did not need the teleportation formation. With their combined efforts, a tunnel leading to the independent stone room was opened. According to Han Jingjing's estimation, if the wormhole crack was still here, it was most likely in this tunnel. Could this be the wormhole crack? Lin Yi brought everyone to the independent stone room. His divine sense scanned back and forth, and he finally found a trace of something. There was indeed a tiny space crack at the edge of the tunnel leading to the stone room. It was smaller than the most ordinary dust, let alone the wormhole exit in the center. Without divine senses, one would have to use a microscope to find it with the naked eye. It was no wonder that Lin Yi did not notice the crack at all. Strictly speaking, it was not a crack. After all, the hole formed by a needle would be bigger than this. If the miniature teleportation formation had not been overloaded and caused a crack in the space, this crack would probably never have been discovered. It should be. I didn't expect it to be so small. Han Jingjing went forward to observe it carefully with her divine senses. She then added, Fortunately, it hasn't moved to another place. It seems to be a stable wormhole exit. It's stable, but what's the use of such a small wormhole exit? Do we have to make an overloaded miniature teleportation formation to open the crack every time? Lin Yi turned to look at Wang Ba as he spoke. He wondered if Wang Ba had the ability to make an array that could enlarge the wormhole crack. That damn thing could not do that for the time being. He did not know much about arrays related to teleportation. On the other hand, since Wang Ba could make a miniature teleportation formation, he was obviously very knowledgeable. Wang Ba was smart. He knew what to say with one look from Lin Yi. Boss Lin Yi, I can think of a way to make the wormhole crack bigger. As for the stability, you don't have to worry. It won't be any worse than the current situation. Wang Ba patted his chest confidently. If it were not for the experience of wandering in the wormhole, Wang Ba might not have dared to act so confidently. However, he was quite confident now. Are you sure? What materials do you need? Lin Yi smiled faintly. If Wang Ba could really do it, Han Jingjing would have found a treasure. Wang Ba smiled in satisfaction when he heard that. How could he miss such a good opportunity to raise the price? However, in order to gain the trust of Lin Yi and Han Jingjing and take the opportunity to lower their vigilance, the request could not be too outrageous. Since Boss Lin Yi mentioned it, I'll tell you what I need. First, high-level formation flags for setting up the formation. The ordinary formation flags we used earlier will do, but they'll be damaged very soon. They're far from enough to maintain the stability of the wormhole exit. If you don't have high-level formation flags, I'll gather some materials for refining formation flags. I can refine them myself. Wang Ba already knew that Lin Yi did not have high-level formation flags. Therefore, he did not wait for Lin Yi's reply and immediately listed a bunch of materials for refining weapons. Lin Yi nodded slightly. Those things were not rare. There were many refining materials in his spoils of war, so they were more than enough. Apart from that, Wang Ba would probably ask for something special. Lin Yi was well aware of that and was waiting for Wang Ba to mention it. Boss Lin Yi, look, refining formation flags and setting up formations are very taxing on the mind and vitality. My primordial spirit is seriously damaged, and I'm afraid I can't take it. If I can heal my primordial spirit first, it'll be fine. Wang Ba's eyes flickered. He was testing Lin Yi's bottom line. If Lin Yi was afraid of him, he might not let him fully recover. However, it was not a bad thing to recover part of his primordial spirit. Wang Ba had a good mentality. As long as there was progress, he would not mind. Once he had enough strength and confidence, he could kill Han Jingjing and take back control. Then, he could kill Lin Yi in a surprise attack. Everything would be perfect. You're right. Take these dark sea soul-condensing liquids to heal your injuries. As long as you're sincere, I won't let you suffer any losses. Lin Yi waved his hand and wrapped 12 drops of dark sea soul-condensing liquids with his vital qi, sending them to Wang Ba. According to his estimation, the amount was enough for Wang Ba to recover his primordial spirit. As for bargaining, he was too lazy to do that. After all, even if Wang Ba returned to his peak, he was still a primordial spirit. Lin Yi still had enough means to suppress Wang Ba, so there was no need to worry. Wang Ba was slightly stunned, then he was overjoyed. He did not expect Lin Yi to be so straightforward and give him enough dark sea soul-condensing liquids to recover his strength. However, on second thought, he realized that Lin Yi was looking down on him. Bastard, how dare you look down on me? I'll let you know what happens when you look down on me. Thank you, Boss Lin Yi. Now, there's no problem. Wang Ba grumbled in his heart, but he put on a bright smile. Then, he began to absorb the Xianhai soul-condensing liquid. Right now, only strength mattered. Once his primordial spirit recovered, he would have more leeway. Wang Ba soon refined the dark sea soul-condensing liquids, and the recovery of his primordial spirit was almost completed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just a moment, his aura had skyrocketed several times. Boss Lin Yi, Master, I've got to refine the formation flags now. Please wait for a moment. After recovering, Wang Ba laughed out loud as he picked up the storage pouch Lin Yi gave him. There were all kinds of formation materials in it. With that, he went back to the original stone room and went to another stone room with a foundry. He started crafting formation flags. Wang Ba's eyes lit up. They did not expect this guy to be a high-level blacksmith. However, normal formation masters could refine formation flags, so it was understandable. It was meaningless for them to wait here. So Lin Yi took out the flying saucer and asked Han Jingjing to send Tian Shan and Sydney back to Tian'an Pavilion to help Shan Wani set up the Chamber of Commerce. Meanwhile, he would keep an eye on Wang Ba. Formation flags were something he could use in the future, so there was no harm in learning more. Chapter 61-22. In Han Jingjing's eyes, the yellow level 5 automatic alchemy furnace from famous medicine sect was nothing. As long as she was willing, she could make a yellow level 7 or even mystic level 1 automatic alchemy furnace at any time. However, the materials for the alchemy furnace were a problem. Even if she made a few, it would not make much sense. Therefore, she decided to ignore it and upgrade Lin Yi's Shinon Cauldron. She had never heard of a compound elixir like the regeneration pill before. Of course, she did not have the corresponding program to support it. Now that she had the elixir recipe and knew the principle behind it, it would not be a problem in the future as long as she updated it. Even if there was a higher level compound elixir, as long as it did not deviate from the path of the regeneration pill, she could refine it perfectly after a few attempts. 2 days later, Wang Ba completed the refining of the formation flags and the initial setting of the formation. Lin Yi did not intervene, but watched his thoughts and techniques from the side, including the ghost thing. Both of them felt enlightened. It was not that Wang Ba's formation skills were better than the ghost thing's. In fact, the ghost thing was better. It was just that Wang Ba had a deeper understanding of using formations to affect space. After the formation was set up and successfully activated, the small wormhole crack that was like a speck of dust suddenly became a circular light hole as tall as a person. Milky white light swirled slowly in it like a vortex. Although he had not tried it, Lin Yi believed that it was a success this time. Han Jingjing had sensed it long ago and happened to arrive at this time. Seeing that the wormhole exit was opened, her face was filled with joy. Big brother Lin Yi, it worked. The exit of this wormhole is very stable and there are no signs of it moving. It's very suitable as our exclusive channel. Han Jingjing said as she took out many instruments and began to assemble them. She was a genius in this aspect. Be it Lin Yi or Wang Ba, they could not interfere at all. In just a few minutes, a bunch of high-tech products filled the space around the wormhole. Han Jingjing did not have the time to talk to Lin Yi. She focused on operating the computer quickly. Wang Ba looked at Han Jingjing and then at Lin Yi. He had recovered his strength. If there was a chance, he could try to deal with Han Jingjing. Unfortunately, he was not confident since Lin Yi was here, so he could only endure it. Well, I can't help much here. Boss Lin Yi, why don't I go out and rearrange the formation on the island? Isn't it important to strengthen the defense here? Wang Ba smiled embarrassedly. He thought it would be great if he could send Lin Yi away. Even if it was just for a few breaths' time, he would have a chance to kill Han Jingjing. The reason why he suggested to set up the formation was to retreat in order to advance. Lin Yi's obsession with formation was no less than Wang Ba's. Therefore, he felt that there was a high chance that Lin Yi would follow him out. As long as he could sneak back, Han Jingjing, who was busy with the technological products, might not even have the thought of resisting and would be devoured by him directly. Lin Yi looked at Han Jingjing's computer screen. He really could not understand what was displayed on it. He could not help even if he wanted to. In that case, it was more appropriate for him to set up the defense formation on the island. After all, with a wormhole exit, this place would become an extremely important stronghold. The defense could not be careless. Let's go. I'll go with you. Apart from the defense formation, we need to set up some killing formations and illusion formations. We must make this place an impregnable fortress. Lin Yi smiled faintly and went out first. Wang Ba was secretly delighted. This was the effect he wanted. As long as Lin Yi left, he would have a chance to come back and kill Han Jingjing without anyone noticing. No problem. Boss Lin Yi, don't worry. This is a piece of cake. If we work together to set up the formation, this island will definitely be impregnable. Even if there's a sea monster tide, they won't be able to break through our defense formation. Wang Ba patted his chest and said confidently. It did not matter if what he said was true or not. Anyway, he just needed to satisfy Lin Yi first. After setting up the formation, Wang Ba was constantly looking for a chance to sneak back. However, he realized that Lin Yi's divine sense had not relaxed at all. Lin Yi was monitoring his movements almost the entire time. It did not seem to be as easy as he had imagined to find Han Jingjing. Forget it. Let's wait a little longer. I heard that this Astrostard is going to the South Continent soon. As long as he leaves the Middle Island, there'll be plenty of opportunities to deal with that little girl. There's no need to rush. Wang Ba did not realize that it was getting easier and easier for him to compromise with himself. Unknowingly, he had already lost his drive and became overcautious. He wanted to wait for a sure chance to strike. Unfortunately, how could there be anything in this world that was guaranteed to succeed? After the two of them set up the formation on the island again, Han Jingjing was almost done with her tests. Brother Lin Yi, come quickly. Jingjing has fixed the coordinates of this exit. Now it's the real wormhole tunnel that can be used. From now on, the wormhole exit in the center of Heaven Stage Island will no longer be the only one that can be used. Han Jingjing let out a small cheer when she saw Lin Yi, jogging over to grab Lin Yi's hand as if she was waiting for him to praise her. Jingjing is amazing. If the center finds out, they'll probably vomit blood out of anger. Lin Yi smiled. Naturally, he would not be stingy with his praise. However, he immediately thought of the exit in the secular world and quickly asked, what about the secular world? If we share the same exit with the center, we can't hide the situation here, right? Also, how can we ensure that we'll be teleported here and not to the center when we teleport things? Brother Lin Yi, don't worry. Jingjing has already considered this problem. At this stage, if we want to teleport to this exit, we can only set up a divine sense mark here. Then, when we teleport to the secular world, we can use this divine sense mark as the target. Han Jingjing looked a little proud. Obviously, she had already expected Lin Yi's problem, so she had thought of a solution in advance. From what you said, apart from the current stage, there's a second stage. Lin Yi was naturally very confident in Han Jingjing's ability. If there was no problem with the teleportation target, this matter was basically settled. Therefore, he was more interested in the other information in Han Jingjing's words. Chapter 61-23. The more difficult the research, the more interested Han Jingjing was. Just the thought of destroying the wormhole's exit was enough to excite her. Is it possible to do that? Lin Yi could not help but be surprised. If it was possible, the development of the center would definitely slow down by more than half. This was even more impressive than destroying one or two of the center's bases. Theoretically, it's possible. Brother Lin Yi, just do what you need to do. I'll definitely think of a way. Han Jingjing clenched her fists to encourage herself. She also showed Lin Yi that she was very confident. Master is so powerful. You'll definitely succeed. Boss Lin Yi, you should believe in my master. Don't worry, I'm here to help my master. Anything will be taken care of. If there's anything you need to do, just do it. Wang Ba flattered Han Jingjing at the right time. Then, intentionally or unintentionally, he urged Lin Yi to leave this place as soon as possible. Only when Lin Yi left and Han Jingjing was alone would he have the chance to take back the control hub of the primordial spirit and devour Han Jingjing. Wang Ba's initial desire for revenge had turned into a purposeful desire to merge with Han Jingjing. The evil spirit king had given him the ability to devour, but Han Jingjing had displayed another talent that he had never known about. To be honest, Wang Ba was very interested in Han Jingjing's ability. Therefore, he wanted to try merging with her. Perhaps he could obtain Han Jingjing's heaven-defying wisdom and use it to dominate the world. It did not seem impossible. Lin Yi ignored Wang Ba and turned to look at the wormhole. He pondered for a moment and said, should I get someone to inform the secular world personally? At least let them know how to teleport here. Just get Wang Ba to go. Brother Lin Yi, do you have a photo of Brother Dafeng and the rest? Show it to Wang Ba and ask him to contact Lai Changyi and the rest. I've already set up the divine sense mark here. It'll be easy for them to operate. Han Jingjing waved her hand indifferently. These were trivial matters. Anyway, it was not the first time Wang Ba's primordial spirit had entered the wormhole. It was definitely not a problem for him to be a messenger. Wang Ba's face darkened. He was not interested in going back and forth through the wormhole. It was a waste of time. However, since Han Jingjing had spoken, it was a done deal. No matter how unwilling he was, he did not dare to object. That makes sense. I think Wang Ba is very suitable. Let's do it this way. Lin Yi nodded with a smile and took out a smartphone from the space in the jade pendant. He opened the photo album and showed Wang Ba the photos of the people in the secular world. Wang Ba forced a fake smile and looked at the photos respectfully. He patted his chest and said, "Boss Lin, Master, don't worry. Leave this to me. I'll definitely do a good job. Isn't it just going back and forth to the secular world? It's no big deal. Wait for me, I'll be back soon." After saying that, Wang Ba turned around and floated toward the wormhole. These two bastards don't even want to discuss things with me. How unruly. I won't argue with you for now. I'll deal with you when I'm back. Knowing that he could not refuse, Wang Ba did not bother to say anything. He rushed into the wormhole and began a new teleportation. Han Jingjing could observe carefully this time and estimate the time needed for the teleportation. Jingjing, this 10,000-year-old tortoise is very cunning. Are you sure you can control him completely? Lin Yi asked thoughtfully as he watched Wang Ba disappear into the wormhole. On the surface, Wang Ba seemed to be quite cooperative. However, Lin Yi was still not very confident in him. He felt that this guy would not surrender so easily. He was the same type of person as Yu Yi from the ancient underworld. This kind of person was different from the other subordinates. They used to stand at the top of the heavenly stage island. They would not surrender easily. After all, they once had glory. How could they compromise so easily? However, it was not a big deal to Lin Yi whether he could control Wang Ba or not. After all, it was a piece of cake for him to kill Wang Ba. The key was Han Jingjing's safety. If he was not 100% sure that Han Jingjing could suppress Wang Ba, he would rather not have this primordial soul puppet. Brother Lin Yi, don't worry. I know Wang Ba isn't being honest, but it's not that easy for him to deal with me. As long as I have a little time to react, I can kill him directly. Han Jingjing was very happy with Lin Yi's concern. As for the threat that Wang Ba might pose, she did not take it to heart. What if he doesn't even give you a little time to react? Lin Yi frowned slightly. That was a huge loophole. With the strength of Wang Ba's primordial soul, if he launched a sneak attack when Han Jingjing was unprepared, she might not even have the time to react. Actually, the primordial soul hub that controls Wang Ba is also integrated with Jingjing's primordial soul, so it can't be separated from me at all. If something happens to me, he will die with me. If he's killed by someone else, my primordial soul will also suffer a certain degree of backlash. If not for that, Jingjing would have transferred the control of Wang Ba to Lin Yi a long time ago. Han Jingjing became slightly more serious. The method she used to control Wang Ba came from the evil spirit warlocks in Europe in the secular world. It was impossible that there were no restrictions, but overall, she still had an advantage as the controller. For example, the previous 3 ghost warlocks, after the evil spirits they raised were destroyed, their souls would also suffer a backlash. But because their strength was too low, it wasn't too obvious. If Han Jingjing had ignored the evil spirit and directly killed the 3 ghost warlocks, then the evil spirit they raised would have vanished into thin air at the same time as the owner's death. Han Jingjing had only figured out the situation not long ago, but Wang Ba did not know anything at all. Even if he knew, he probably would not let it go. After a short pause, Han Jingjing added, "When Wang Ba comes back, I'll explain the situation to him. If he knows that I'll die if something happens to me, I guess he won't have any evil thoughts." You're underestimating Wang Ba. He won't believe what you say. He might even think that you're just scaring him and make up his mind to attack you. To be safe, just kill him if anything goes wrong. Don't hesitate. To Lin Yi, 100 Wang Bas were not even worth a strand of Han Jingjing's hair. It would be fine if nothing happened, but if something really did happen, he would not show mercy. Chapter 61-24. That good? It turned into a spirit defense tool. Lin Yi was finally relieved. As long as Han Jingjing had time to react when she was ambushed, Wang Ba would not be able to overturn the situation. He would have to wait for his next life. As for the armor that turned into a spirit defense tool, Lin Yi was quite interested. Could the wormhole have the ability to make such tools? If he could replicate the process, the safety of the people around him will be greatly improved. I'll let Jingjing study it and make one for big brother Lin Yi. Han Jingjing wanted to give her armor to Lin Yi, but it was connected to her spirit, so she could not take it off. In other words, the spirit defense tool made this way would recognize its owner directly. There was no hope of mass-producing it and selling it. He could not let these people go on a one-day trip to the wormhole, could he? The two chatted for a while. Since Wang Ba would not threaten Han Jingjing, Lin Yi was much more relaxed. The Shinnong cauldron had been upgraded, but he did not attempt to refine pills right away. It was rare for him to be alone with Han Jingjing, and there was nothing special going on. How would he waste time? The pleasant conversation lasted for half an hour. Both of them felt that time passed in a flash, and Wang Ba returned to Heavenly Island from the secular world within half an hour. Boss Lin Yi, Master, I'm glad I didn't let you down. I've already contacted your people over there. Dafeng happened to be at the entrance of the wormhole today. After a secret conversation with him, we've agreed on a time to try teleporting things over. Wang Ba did not seem to feel any discomfort from teleporting. He came to the two of them proudly as soon as he came out. However, there was still a hint of regret in his eyes when he looked at Lin Yi. Why was this ** starred still standing here? Didn't he say he was in a hurry to go to South Continent? He only knew how to hang around girls all day. What a good-for-nothing. When did you agree on a time to try teleporting? Lin Yi could not be bothered with Wang Ba's thoughts. He was only concerned about the teleportation ability of the wormhole. Although Wang Ba had personally tried to connect this place to the secular world, primordial spirit and items were obviously different. Whether Han Jingjing's setup was really successful or not depended on our next attempt. Dafeng said that it will start 10 minutes after I leave. The first time it will send a mobile phone, the second time, a laptop the third time. Were these things? Wang Ba's loyal incarnation was a repeater. Apart from the last sentence, Dafeng's meaning was conveyed very well. Sending the designated items 3 times was obviously to ensure that there would be no mistakes in the middle. If the 3 items were not received, or if they were received in the wrong order, it meant that there was a problem. It was temporarily not suitable to send large quantities of items, especially important items. If the order of the items was correct after 3 tries, it was basically certain that the wormhole tunnel could be used and the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce's supply would be guaranteed. You've done a good job. You've worked hard this time. Go take a rest. We'll talk after the items are sent from the secular world. Lin Yi waved his hand to get Wang Ba to stay at the side. He then turned around to chat with Han Jingjing. The corner of Wang Ba's mouth twitched imperceptibly. He almost could not hold back his anger. What's with this * starred's attitude? I've worked hard, and you're just going to dismiss me with a wave of your hand? Shouldn't you at least give me a few drops of Xianhai soul-condensing liquid as a reward? Stingy * starred. I would have killed you if I could beat you both. Wang Ba, who was indignant, did not dare to object. He floated to the side obediently and continued cursing Lin Yi and Han Jingjing in his heart. However, he still maintained a bright smile on his face. It was really hard on him. A few minutes later, the light vortex at the wormhole's exit spun several times faster. An item the size of a palm flew out with a swoosh. Lin Yi waved his hand and easily changed the item's flight path so that it fell into his palm and scathed. First time a cell phone. Seems like there's a high chance of success. Lin Yi and Han Jingjing looked at each other and smiled. If there was no problem the first time, it was basically half a success. They turned on the cell phone's power supply. The teleportation did not affect the item's function. Soon, they entered the operation interface. Lin Yi found a video playback, and there was indeed a video recorded by Brother Dafeng. Boss Lin Yi, if you see this video, remember to reply to me. By the way, we all miss you. Come back and see us when you're free. At the end of the video, Brother Dafeng even winked at Lin Yi with a knowing expression. Lin Yi could not help but smile. This Brother Dafeng was really meticulous. He did things flawlessly. This small video let Lin Yi confirm that this cell phone was part of the plan. Secondly, even if it was teleported to the center, it would not arouse their suspicions. No wonder he could be an undercover for so long and was getting better and better. If it were not for the immemorial Underworld base incident, he might not have been exposed until now. Big Brother Lin Yi, Brother Dafeng is really a good talent. Although Jingjing gave him a detailed method, he was able to accurately complete the teleportation in such a short time. He is also very good. If there's a chance in the future, bring him to Heaven Island. Maybe he can play a bigger role. Han Jingjing praised Brother Dafeng with a smile. With the deepening of the research on the wormhole, it was very likely that they could complete the teleportation in the future. At that time, it would be very convenient to travel between Heaven Island and the secular world. You're right. Brother Dafeng is indeed a talent. It would be good to have him come to Heaven Island to help if there's a chance. Lin Yi smiled slightly, nodded slightly, and deleted the video. After the third teleportation was completed, Lin Yi would teleport the cell phone back to the secular world. It was not convenient for him to record a reply video, as it would easily expose the wormhole. With Brother Dafeng's intelligence, he would immediately know what Lin Yi meant when he saw the missing video. No reply was actually the best reply. A few minutes later, the flow of light at the exit that had calmed down doubled again, and a laptop flew out. This time, Brother Dafeng did not attach any additional information. If Lin Yi did not receive the cell phone the first time, it would be equivalent to the attempt failing, and it would be meaningless to say anything else. If Lin Yi received the cell phone, there was naturally no need to say anything the second time. Chapter 61-25. Finally, the AK-47 was teleported over a few minutes later. Lin Yi did not know what use it had. No matter how weak the cultivators on Heavenly Island were, they would not be afraid of AK-47 bullets, unless they were ordinary people who could not cultivate at all. However, they could easily kill ordinary people with just a slap. Who would carry an AK-47 with them? I guess it's used by the guards at the exit. Big Brother Dafeng probably used it as a test subject. Han Jingjing guessed with a smile. It didn't matter whether it was true or not. Anyway, after 3 experiments, she could already confirm that the wormhole passageway connecting Heaven Stage Island to the secular world would officially become 2 from today onwards. Perhaps it would become 1 again soon, but the one that would disappear would definitely be the one at the center. I'll go back to Middle Island immediately and ask Tianshan to arrange the opening of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Although we have our own wormhole exit, we still have to use it at the center for a while, lest they suspect where our goods from the secular world came from. Lin Yi was ready to return to Middle Island after he teleported his phone back to the secular world. Han Jingjing still needed to stay here for some follow-up adjustments, so Lin Yi could only go back first. They did not mention Wang Ba, as if they had forgotten about him. Wang Ba was secretly delighted. He did not notice anything wrong, and even secretly prayed that Lin Yi and the rest would not suddenly think of him. After Lin Yi left, it would be time for him to make a move on Han Jingjing. However, Wang Ba did not consider whether this was just a test for him. Although Lin Yi and Han Jingjing did not say it out loud, their minds were connected. One look was enough to understand each other's thoughts. In addition, they had already discussed Wang Ba's matter, so it was necessary to test Wang Ba's loyalty. Han Jingjing and Lin Yi had a tacit understanding. Even if it was a whim, she could understand it immediately. Since Big Brother Lin Yi wanted to test Wang Ba, then let him do it. It was not a big deal. Jingjing, Dafeng should be sending a large amount of goods over in a while. Take this storage ring first. It will be easier to load the goods when the time comes. Lin Yi thought of the storage ring he snatched from the extreme North Island. It was quite suitable for transporting goods, so he took it out and gave it to Han Jingjing. This added fuel to the fire in Wang Ba's heart. Even a tortoise like Wang Ba would rarely see a storage ring. Otherwise, he would have kept all his creation battle arts and myriad amplification formation in his storage ring. As expected, Wang Ba's eyes lit up when he saw the storage ring Lin Yi took out. Although he hid it immediately, the fire in his heart could not be extinguished. A storage ring, even 10,000 years ago, it was not something that just anyone could possess. Indeed, Wang Ba had his eyes on the storage ring at first glance. However, Lin Yi, who had given him the storage ring so casually, made him feel even more mysterious. This Beaster's starred is so generous. It looks like he has a lot of good stuff. I can't let this big fish go. Lin Yi scanned Wang Ba with his divine sense and sneered in his heart. Instead of burying this time bomb next to Han Jingjing, it was better to detonate it as soon as possible. Lin Yi believed that Han Jingjing was not afraid of Wang Ba's sneak attack. However, he had to be on guard. What if Wang Ba colluded with outsiders to set Han Jingjing up? Therefore, he had to light a fire in Wang Ba's heart. If he could not control himself and jumped out, he would be roasted on the fire. If he really dared to hurt Han Jingjing, Lin Yi would never let him go. Han Jingjing took the storage ring without hesitation and looked at it with great interest. She did not care how precious this thing was. It was a gift from Big Brother Lin Yi, and it was a ring. It would be strange if she did not accept it. Of course, Han Jingjing was more interested in how to make a storage ring. In fact, she had done some research in this area. For example, Lin Yi's flying saucer also used space technology. It was just that it had not reached the level of a storage ring. If she studied it later, she might be able to mass-produce storage rings. Not only would it be convenient for her people to carry things, it could also be the flagship product of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Each of them could be sold at a sky-high price. I'll leave first. It won't take long to go to the middle island. I'll be back soon after I make the arrangements. Lin Yi waved his hand with a smile. Han Jingjing nodded and watched him leave through the passage. Wang Ba, go to the secular world again and tell Brother Dafeng that we can start sending the resources. After Lin Yi entered the passage and left, Han Jingjing suddenly asked Wang Ba to go to the wormhole again without warning. Wang Ba, who was calculating how long it would take for Lin Yi to leave the island, was slightly stunned. He wanted to reject it instinctively, but Lin Yi was still in the passage and could turn back at any time. It did not seem right to reject Han Jingjing's order. Yes, master. I'll go right away. Various thoughts flashed through Wang Ba's mind, but he did not hesitate at all on the surface. He simply agreed and entered the wormhole. As soon as he entered the wormhole, Wang Ba snickered in his heart. Hee, you little girl. You want to send me away? Do you think you'll be fine just like that? Have you forgotten that entering the wormhole does not necessarily mean that you will be sent back? It was not difficult for Wang Ba to leave the passage. Soon, he left the passage and began wandering in the wormhole. With Lin Yi's speed, it would not take long for him to leave the island. Therefore, Wang Ba felt that he could turn around and catch Han Jingjing off guard if he waited a little longer. However, he did not know that Lin Yi had already returned to where he was when he entered the wormhole. He looked at Han Jingjing with appreciation and did not say anything. He took out a level 8 concealment formation board and placed it in a corner. He hid after concealing his aura. Initially, Lin Yi wanted to pretend to leave and sneak back. He did not expect Han Jingjing to be so smart as to send Wang Ba into the wormhole. Although he could observe the situation outside from the wormhole, he could not use his divine consciousness to sense the moment he entered. Therefore, Wang Ba did not realize that Lin Yi had taken the opportunity to return. As for whether the level 8 concealment formation board could fool Wang Ba, Lin Yi was not worried at all. That was because Wang Ba's formation was different from the formation board. Wang Ba was better at formations in other aspects. Since Lin Yi had improved the concealment formation board, it would not be a problem for him to fool Wang Ba for a short period of time. Chapter 61-26. At this moment, Han Jingjing was studying the storage ring Lin Yi gave her with all her attention. She turned her back towards the entrance of the wormhole without any precaution. Wang Ba grinned wickedly. He fully activated the Devour ability. As long as he could enter Han Jingjing's body, he would be able to control her spirit in an instant. Once he took back the control hub of the primordial spirit, it would be up to him whether he wanted to turn Han Jingjing into a primordial spirit puppet or take over her body. Unfortunately, the reality was harsh. Wang Ba thought he could enter Han Jingjing's body effortlessly, but he could not even get close to her skin. An illusory armor automatically appeared on the surface of Han Jingjing's body, blocking Wang Ba, who was rushing toward her. He could not get close to her. He had miscalculated. This little girl actually had an armor that could protect her primordial spirit. She was King tricking him. Wang Ba was shocked. Although the armor was shaking under the impact, It was impossible for Han Jingjing not to feel it. As a primordial spirit puppet, of course, he knew that his master could turn him into ashes with just a thought. Should he continue attacking or stop and admit his mistake? Should he fool her this time and find another chance? Before Wang Ba could figure it out, a bolt of lightning appeared out of nowhere and struck his primordial spirit, making him feel like his soul was about to leave his body. Linny, this B asterisk star was also hiding there? The two of you really teamed up to trick me. What the F asterisk CK? Was there any justice in this world? Wang Ba wanted to cry, but had no tears. He was caught off guard by the bolt of lightning and was immediately seriously injured. His primordial spirit, which had been repaired with the Xianhai soul-condensing liquid, became illusory again. Boss Lin, Master. This is a misunderstanding, a huge misunderstanding. Wang Ba shouted. Although he was just a primordial spirit, his voice sounded hoarse. Lin, he had already appeared next to Han Jingjing like a ghost. He smirked at Wang Ba. He could have attacked the moment Wang Ba appeared, but Han Jingjing wanted to test the defensibility of the armor. In addition, Wang Ba did not intend to kill her at first. Instead, he wanted to enter Han Jingjing's body, so he waited. However, that was all. Lin, he would never give Wang Ba a second chance. If it were not for the fact that Han Jingjing's primordial spirit would suffer a backlash if he killed the B asterisk starred, Wang Ba would not even have the chance to speak. Han Jingjing slowly turned around and nodded with a faint smile. Is it a misunderstanding? Then why don't you explain it and see what kind of misunderstanding it is? Big Brother Lin, he was right. This 10,000-year tortoise is an ingrate. I really have to be wary of him in the future. Even though Han Jingjing was sure that Wang Ba wanted to kill her, she did not plan to kill him just like that. After all, he was a powerful primordial spirit. He could still be useful after she subdued him. Thank you, Master. I'll explain this misunderstanding right away. Wang Ba bowed gratefully and thanked her. At the same time, he was thinking about how he could come up with a reasonable explanation to fool her. However, before he could come up with an explanation, Lin, he had lost his patience. Another bolt of lightning flashed and tore a small part of Wang Ba's primordial spirit. It was completely annihilated. The heart-wrenching pain almost made Wang Ba scream. Boss Lin, let's talk this out. Let's talk this out. Wang Ba forced a smile and begged for mercy as he endured the pain in his primordial spirit. What else is there to talk about? Lin, he smiled faintly. Another bolt of lightning flashed. Since he could not kill this B asterisk star right away, he might as well let him suffer a little first. Big Brother Lin, don't be too angry. I'm fine. Moreover, if he dies accidentally, Jingjing's primordial spirit will suffer a backlash. Han Jingjing shook Lin Yi's arm. She looked like she was pleading for Wang Ba, but she was actually revealing some information to Wang Ba. If I die, this little girl will suffer a backlash? If she dies, what will happen to me? Although Wang Ba was in great pain, he did not miss out on any information. Han Jingjing's words flashed through his mind, and he more or less understood what she meant. Then, his expression became more and more terrible. It seemed like he had suffered for nothing. If he could not seize the control hub of her primordial spirit in the future, he would have to risk his life to protect this little girl. Otherwise, if she died, he would have to die with her. I'm not angry anymore, but this guy needs to be taught a lesson. Don't worry, he won't die. Lin, he raised his hand with a smile. After another bolt of lightning fell, he stopped punishing Wang Ba in satisfaction. At that moment, Wang Ba had returned to the state before he merged with the evil Spirit King. Even if Han Jingjing did not control the hub, she could easily crush him. It was a pity that the dozen drops of Xianhai soul-condensing liquid were wasted because of Wang Ba's momentary mistake. Fortunately, Lin he still had a lot of them, so he did not feel bad about it. 10,000-year-old tortoise, you can tell me what the misunderstanding is now. Lin he smiled faintly. After this lesson, if Wang Ba still refused to submit, then he would continue to teach him a lesson. Boss Lin, Master, I was wrong. There was no misunderstanding. I deserve to die. I promise there won't be a next time. Can you be magnanimous and forgive me this time? Wang Ba pulled a long face and did not try to quibble. None of them were fools. They all knew what was going on. If he continued to talk nonsense, he would only be asking for trouble. Jingjing, this is your primordial spirit puppet. You can decide what to do with it. I won't care. Lin Yi ignored Wang Ba. Although this guy was beaten up badly, it would not be easy for him to admit his mistake. Since Wang Ba was no longer a threat, Lin Yi simply left it to Han Jingjing to decide. Wang Ba squeezed out a flattering smile, but he was still cursing in his heart. You be Astor-starred. Why did you hit me so hard when you knew I was that little girl's primordial spirit puppet? You said you wouldn't interfere after you had your fun. Don't you have any shame? Go ahead, Brother Linny. I'll continue to teach him a lesson. Han Jingjing smiled sweetly, telling Lin Yi not to worry. She even waved her little fist at Wang Ba. Wang Ba was even more embarrassed, looking as if he knew he was in the wrong and wanted the bastard to leave as soon as possible. Wang Ba couldn't help but feel a chill in his heart whenever Lin Yi was here. Lin Yi stared at Wang Ba coldly and said a few words to Han Jingjing. Then he turned around and left. He really needed to make arrangements for Middle Island. He would see if Wang Ba was obedient later. If not, he would continue to teach him a lesson. Chapter 61-27. Back in Middle Island, the Central Chamber of Commerce had just delivered the goods that Lin Yi had asked the secular world to prepare. Although they knew that it was to compete with the Central Chamber of Commerce, they didn't dare to do anything. Zhong Pinyang was in charge of the Central Chamber of Commerce in Middle Island, so he wouldn't make things difficult for this batch of goods. Anyway, the higher-ups had instructed them not to provoke Lin Yi for the time being, so he only needed to do as he was told. Brother Lin, the preparation for the Chamber of Commerce are almost done. We can open for business at any time. This batch of goods came just in time. When do you think we should open for business? Shang Wani's face was flushed, and he came over to greet Lin Yi as soon as he saw him return. With the secular world's goods as the main product for the low and middle end, and high-level elixirs as the top products for the high end, the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce had already possessed the characteristics of a successful Chamber of Commerce from the very beginning. As the president of the Chamber of Commerce that was handpicked by Lin Yi, Shang Wani not only felt exhilarated, but also had the freedom to display his talents and ambitions at will. From this point of view, he should really thank the Universal Chamber of Commerce. Without their pressure, how could there be the current Shang Wani? The only thing that worried Shang Wani was Tian Shan and Sydney. After all, the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce had merged with the original Tiandan Pavilion, and the two of them were not only the managers of the original Tiandan Pavilion, but also Lin Yi's women. If they held them back, he would inevitably be restrained no matter how capable he was. It wasn't that Shang Wani looked down on Tian Shan and Sydney, but the two of them really didn't have much business talent. The Tiandan Pavilion was completely supported by Lin Yi's elixirs. Tian Chan's alchemy skills were also good, but there were many that were about the same level as her. At least, the medicine sect was enough to suppress Tian Shan. With the support of Lin Yi's elixirs and the help of the acting owner of Middle Island, Okuda, and the deputy owner of the Will of Heaven, Tiandan Pavilion could only barely tie with the medicine sect. When it came to business, Shang Wani indeed had the right to look down on the two of them. Brother Shang, you have full control of the Chamber of Commerce. If you need me to do anything, just let me know. After you decide on the opening time, use our name to invite the famous people of Central Island. You must spread the name of the Heavenly Pill Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. As for the various business operations after the opening, I won't interfere. You'll have to worry about it. Lin Yi smiled slightly and directly expressed his trust in Shang Wani. He also made it clear that he wanted to be a hands-off boss. After a slight pause, Lin Yi continued, and Tian Shan and Sydney, they won't be in charge of the external affairs of the Chamber of Commerce from now on. I'll let them be in charge of the logistics of the Chamber of Commerce, so that they don't have to show up in public all the time. To be honest, these two girls aren't very good at doing business, so you'll have a hard time in the future. You'd better be mentally prepared. I understand. Thank you, Brother Lin. Shang Wani was silent for a while and then nodded hard. He had been in the business world for so many years, so he naturally knew that Lin Yi wanted to delegate all the power to him. He didn't even arrange any checks and balances. As a superior, this approach was very undesirable. But as a person, Shang Wani was full of gratitude for Lin Yi's absolute trust in him. Putting aside the life-saving grace, just for this heavy trust, it was enough for Shang Wani to go through fire and water to repay Lin Yi without any hesitation. We're all on the same side. You don't have to be so polite in the future. Lin Yi waved his hand casually and continued. Brother Shang, I have something to do in South Continent. So please arrange the opening of the Chamber of Commerce as soon as possible. Don't worry about the subsequent supply of goods. After these things are arranged, I'll set off. Okay, the preparations for the opening are almost done. We can open as soon as tomorrow. Today, I'll send an invitation to each important person in Middle Island. Then, I'll arrange the goods showcases. It'll probably be done before dark. Shang Wani nodded and didn't say any more words of gratitude. He immediately got into his role and came up with the fastest plan. Then, let's set it for tomorrow. If there's anything you need me to do, Brother Shang, just let me know. Lin Yi was satisfied with the timing. After everything was done tomorrow, he could rush to South Continent. He didn't know if Languza had made any progress in South Continent. Shang Wani hesitated for a while. Although Lin Yi said that he was in charge of the Chamber of Commerce, it was Lin Yi's property after all. Some decisions should be made by the owner. Brother Lin, about the pricing of the goods, I still want to ask your opinion. I've seen the goods sent by the Central Chamber of Commerce this time. It's basically similar to what they sell. Is the price the same as theirs? Or is it slightly cheaper? In fact, Shang Wani wanted to ask if they should sell it at a higher price. After all, it was from the Central Chamber of Commerce. Wouldn't the purchase cost be higher? However, if the price was higher than the Central Chamber of Commerce, then the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce would have no advantage at all. The Central Chamber of Commerce already had the absolute upper hand. In the case of the same quality, there was no advantage in the price. Lin Yi pinched his chin. He knew that the goods sent by Brother Dafeng should be of a higher grade than the Central Chamber of Commerce. After all, the goods sent by the Central Chamber of Commerce were all obsolete goods. It was to save money. Anyway, it was the same on Heaven Stage Island. It was the same on the other hand. The spiritual herbs, and so on that the Central Chamber of Commerce sent to the secular world were the lowest grade goods on Heaven Stage Island. However, they became extremely precious spiritual herbs in the secular world. It was through this method that the Central Chamber of Commerce could maintain the momentum of rapid development in both worlds. If Lin Yi wanted to surpass the Central Chamber of Commerce, the quality must first be better than theirs. However, Lin Yi understood this in his heart, but Shang Wani did not know that in the eyes of the people on Heaven Stage Island, there was not much difference between obsolete goods and mainstream goods. In the end, it still depended on the price. As for the pricing, refer to the Central Chamber of Commerce's similar goods first. In the first few days of opening, you can give a discount based on this price. You can control the specific operation yourself. Lin Yi did not give too many instructions. As long as the goods could be distributed, people would soon realize that the quality of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was better. At that time, the reputation of the Chamber of Commerce would naturally increase. When the two sides engaged in a quality upgrade war, Lin Yi's goal would almost be achieved. The Central Chamber of Commerce's procurement cost would increase and the development funds would decrease. Then, he would start a price war. It did not matter if everyone could not make money, because his need for funds was far less urgent than the Central Chamber of Commerce. At most, he could take out some high-grade medicinal pills to auction. Chapter 61-28. These plans had not yet taken shape, and Lin Yi did not intend to tell Shang Wani. The Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce could develop according to the normal route for the time being. Understood. I'll go arrange the opening and the invitation list first. Shang Wani nodded, smiled, and said goodbye to Lin Yi before turning around to do his work. Lin Yi set the tone, and Shang Wani only needed to follow this direction. He believed that he would not let Lin Yi down. Shang Wani was very efficient. Before dark, The ground floor of the Tiandan Pavilion had been rearranged. The originally empty hall was filled with all kinds of goods from the secular world, and they were arranged in an orderly manner. There was no sense of disorder at all. In addition, after the list of people to be invited was sent to Lin Yi for review, the invitations were immediately sent out. Basically, they covered all the well-known figures in Middle Island. More than half of them replied on the spot, saying that they would definitely attend the opening ceremony of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce tomorrow. Lin Yi was very satisfied with Shangwani. Seeing that there was nothing else, he simply returned to the island and accompanied Han Jingjing to study the wormhole. At the same time, he received the goods sent by Brother Dafeng. After Wang Ba was beaten back to his original state, he finally became completely obedient. This time, he really did not dare to go east or west, and he did not dare to stand when asked to squat down. Lin Yi was afraid that he would die, so he gave him a drop of Shanghai soul-condensing liquid to stabilize his injury. The next morning, Lin Yi returned to Middle Island to attend the opening ceremony of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Although the representative of the Chamber of Commerce was President Shangwani, the people in the upper echelons of Middle Island all knew who the master behind the scenes was, so he still had to appear. Master Lin, congratulations. Your business is booming. Please take care of me in the future. Brother Lin, you're really fast. You've already opened a Chamber of Commerce. Congratulations. Brother Lin, with your participation, the competition will be even more intense in the future. But I still have to congratulate you. I wish you a prosperous business and a lot of money. Congratulations, Master Lin. People from all walks of life came to congratulate. Those who were close to him called him Brother Lin, and those who weren't close to him called him Master Lin. On the contrary, no one called him Young Hero Lin. From this, it could be seen that Lin Yi's status in Middle Island was indeed different from the past. Okuda State had come, and so had Okuda Dam. The Pill Hall had been represented by Ho Guanqi, and Kai Zhongyang had also come to congratulate them on behalf of the Five Elements Chamber of Commerce. Just this small detail showed that the higher-ups of the Five Elements Chamber of Commerce wanted to form an alliance with the Heavenly Dam Pavilion. Other than these friendly forces, the Central Chamber of Commerce also sent a congratulatory gift. However, it wasn't convenient for Zhong Pingyang to visit them directly, and Kong Mingming didn't want to see Lin Yi's success either. So, he only sent a normal representative. Hong's Chamber of Commerce, which had been fighting with the Central Chamber of Commerce recently, also sent someone to congratulate them. After all, Lin Yi had the title of Honorary Vice President of Hong's Chamber of Commerce. However, Lin Yi didn't know this person. He didn't know which faction he was from, so he just greeted him. Wei Shinjin's identity in Snow Sword sect could be represented, but as Lin Yi's follower, he came early to help out. In order to show how much they valued Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, Snow Sword sect still sent an elder to congratulate them. Boss, our Snow Sword sect's leader asked me to pass a message. This time, she really can't leave, so she can't come in person. She's very sorry. Wei Shinjin was busy and suddenly remembered this matter. He quickly went to Lin Yi and explained in a low voice. It's okay, it's just a small matter. Lin Yi smiled faintly and waved his hand indifferently, signaling him to continue greeting the guests. The list made by Shangwani must be the leaders of each family. But today, all the people who came were his assistants, or even his assistant's assistant. It looked like they were giving him face, but in fact, they didn't pay much attention to him. The information about the extreme North Island should have spread all over the Middle Island in these 2 days. With Lin Yi's identity in position, even if he didn't send an invitation, those big shots would find a chance to come and build a good relationship with Lin Yi. After all, he was a mystic level 2 alchemist. Usually, they didn't have a chance to curry favor with him. Even if they went to the East Continent, they might not be able to find him. Now that the invitation was sent to them, none of them came? Thinking about it carefully, this situation was really strange. Although Lin Yi said that it was okay, he was very puzzled in his heart. Shangwani was in charge of greeting the guests, so Lin Yi didn't need to worry about it. He simply looked for an empty space and pulled the two brothers Okuda and Okuda Ba upstairs to talk. Brothers Okuda, did something happen today? Lin, he didn't stand on ceremony. After pulling the two brothers to sit down, he asked directly. Speaking of which, Okuda seemed to be the only leader of one of the forces today. Although he was the acting island owner, Lin, he still appreciated his kindness. Others might not know about this matter, but Okuda definitely knew. Not to mention his identity as the acting island owner. Just the Okuda family's representative on the surface was enough for him to know anything that happened in the Middle Island. Brother Lin, you don't have to worry about it. They're not targeting you. Okuda smiled and waved his hand. He didn't have any intention to hide it. Okuda boss snorted. There was some disdain on his face. It seemed that he also knew the reason. Brother Lin, you don't have to care about them. It's just that the old guys behind haven't decided what to do with you, so the people under them don't dare to pick a side. In fact, with your identity and ability, which old guy doesn't want to rope you in? It's because they can't divide it evenly that they're in a stalemate. Okuda Ba didn't say it clearly, but it wasn't vague either. Lin listened and understood instantly. It turned out that the ancient families of Middle Island didn't show a clear attitude, so those families and sects didn't dare to casually send out their leaders. This was like eating at the same table. A dish was served, but the boss didn't move his chopsticks. Which little brother would dare to reach out first? After eating, wouldn't they want to die? Right now, Lin, and the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce were like the dish that was just served, waiting for the boss to eat first. To be honest, this kind of feeling made Lin very uncomfortable. His strength was still not enough. It was just an ancient family of Middle Island. If his strength was enough to crush the old monsters of the sea-splitting stage, he probably didn't need to send any invitations. These ancient families' patriarchs would rush to curry favor with him. In the end, although the identity of a mystic grade second-level alchemist was noble, if he wanted to truly gain the respect or awe of everyone, he needed absolute strength. Chapter 61-29. I get it. It's not a big deal. Lin smiled faintly. He could understand what the heads of the families were thinking. If they sent someone important to congratulate them, they wouldn't offend Lin and the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce too much. If they didn't show up, the ancient families wouldn't say anything either. It was a safe way to not offend either side. Thinking about it carefully, there was nothing to criticize. Lin, he wasn't that narrow-minded. Even if he was angry, his target would be the ancient families. What was the saying? Today, you ignore me. Tomorrow, I'll make you too high for me. One day, they would regret looking down on the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Okuda Ba didn't say anything more. After today, he would leave Zhongdao. It was rare for him to get together with his second brother. It was good to take this opportunity to talk more. After a while, Wei Xinjin came upstairs to report that almost all the guests had arrived. He invited Lin, and the two Okuda brothers to go downstairs to attend the ceremony. So the three of them went downstairs together. The so-called opening ceremony was not too complicated. It was even simpler than the opening of a company in the secular world. However, it was still lively. Anyway, everyone gathered together to have a good time and announced the establishment of the Chamber of Commerce to let everyone know that there was such a thing. Yo, it's quite lively. I didn't expect that a trader of the Universal Chamber of Commerce could become the president of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. It can be seen that the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce isn't that great. As soon as the opening ceremony ended, Ping Jianshan walked in with several people from the Universal Chamber of Commerce. He had a sneer on his face, and his words were sarcastic and sarcastic. Lin Yi's face darkened, and his eyes narrowed slightly. It seemed that the previous lesson wasn't enough. This guy forgot the pain after the wound healed and came to provoke them again. He chose to do it at the opening ceremony of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Who gave him the courage? Liang Jingru. Well, no one would understand this joke. Lin, he could only think about it in his heart. Anyway, it was just a small role. He didn't plan to show up and let Shang Wani deal with it. Since the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce had been handed over to Shang Wani, it seemed that Lin, he was too incompetent to deal with such a small problem. Ping Jianshin, are you here on behalf of the Wantong Trade Association or on your own? Xiangwani was not angry at all. He calmly took 2 steps forward and asked Ping Jianshan. From a personal point of view, Xiangwani didn't want to send an invitation to the Universal Chamber of Commerce. However, from the standpoint of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, he still had to send the invitation. It didn't matter whether the Universal Chamber of Commerce sent someone or not. Xiangwani didn't care when he didn't see anyone from the Universal Chamber of Commerce. He didn't expect him to come out and make trouble until now. If Ping Jianshan said that he came on behalf of the Universal Chamber of Commerce, it was tantamount to making it clear that he wanted to fight against the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce to the death. If it was just his personal behavior, Xiangwani would not hesitate to ask someone to throw him out. On the occasion where celebrities gathered in Zhongdao, a clown like Ping Jianshan couldn't do whatever he wanted. Throwing him out was already giving him face. If he met someone with a bad temper, it was not strange for him to be killed directly. I'm here on behalf of the Universal Chamber of Commerce to congratulate the establishment of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Master Lin, this is a small congratulatory gift. Please don't mind it. Ping Jianshan's face suddenly changed, and he smiled as he cupped his hands at Lin Yi. It wasn't exactly respectful, but it was still polite. Since Ping Jianshan had changed his attitude, Xiangwani could only smile and ask someone to accept the congratulatory gift. As for Ping Jianshan deliberately ignoring him and greeting Lin Yi, he didn't care. Lin Yi looked at Ping Jianshan calmly. He didn't want to talk to this guy at all. For this kind of person who was obviously looking for trouble, it was impossible for him to be polite. Ping Jianshan didn't expect that Lin Yi dared not to give him any face on this occasion. But when he recalled Lin Yi's horror, he didn't dare to lose his temper. He could only smile, touch his nose, and turn his head. Hey, aren't these the things sold by the Central Chamber of Commerce? Why does the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce sell the same goods as the Central Chamber of Commerce? Ping Jianshan pretended to have just found out and exclaimed loudly, as if everyone here was blind except for him. Ping Jianshan, what are you trying to say? Xiangwani's expression was somewhat unfriendly. It was the opening day of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. He didn't want anything unpleasant to happen. But if Ping Jianshan kept provoking him, he might have to take action forcefully. Otherwise, if he swallowed the insult in front of so many families and sects, they would think that the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce could be bullied at will. I just want to ask, is the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce affiliated with the Central Chamber of Commerce? It shouldn't be, right? What is Master Lin's status? How could he be a lackey of the Central Chamber of Commerce? So, are you guys counterfeiting the goods of the Central Chamber of Commerce? Ping Jianshan looked like he had found out the truth. His eyes darted around, trying to provoke the suspicion of all the families present. If a Chamber of Commerce counterfeited others' goods, it was basically equivalent to destroying its reputation. Not to mention doing business, it would be a problem for it to survive. Of course, this situation would only occur in some exclusive monopolized products, such as the technological products of the secular world of the Central Chamber of Commerce. If it was just elixirs and props that everyone had, then it couldn't be called counterfeiting. Xiangwani looked like he was looking at an idiot. He stretched out his finger and drew a circle in the air. With a slightly sarcastic smile, he said, Ping Jianshan, do you think everyone here is an idiot? Or are you the only smart person in the world who can see things that others can't? His words were a little harsh. Ping Jianshan's back was in a cold sweat. He had offended so many important figures in Zhongdao. Not to mention that he was only the executive vice president of the Universal Chamber of Commerce. Even the entire Universal Chamber of Commerce could be uprooted. After all, compared with the forces of the entire Zhongdao, the Universal Chamber of Commerce was nothing. Xiangwani, don't change the topic. Is that what I meant? We are all smart people. Don't think that you can fool everyone with a few provocative words. Ping Jianshan didn't dare to be negligent. He quickly raised his voice to clarify. I think that's what you meant. What? Are you trying to show off your superiority as a smart person in front of me? Okuda Ba. As a good brother of Lin Yi, Okuda Ba, of course, had to stand up and support the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce at this time. His calm words directly made Ping Jinshin blush. Chapter 6130. Captain Okuda, you've misunderstood. What I meant was that the Central Chamber of Commerce might be dissatisfied with the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce selling these things. After all, only they have these things. If the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce can't explain the source of the goods, I'm afraid there will be some problems. I'm just being kind, really. In front of Okuda, Ping Jinshin's aura plummeted, and he became more careful with his words. However, the meaning behind his words was still trying to discredit the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. After he finished speaking, many people looked at the representative from the Central Chamber of Commerce. In fact, many people felt that it was strange, but they didn't want to mention it. Since Ping Jinshin stood up for them, everyone was happy to find out the truth. The representative sent by the Central Chamber of Commerce was just a small fry. He didn't know the relationship between Lin Yi and the Central Chamber of Commerce. Being stared at by so many people, he couldn't help but feel nervous. Thinking about it carefully, the higher-ups didn't seem to care much about the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent a small fry like him. However, they also told him not to offend Lin Yi. This was a little awkward, and it was better to handle it carefully. Yes, the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce's goods also come from our Central Chamber of Commerce. As for whether they are their own imitations, I will go back and report to the higher-ups and investigate. Today, we are all here to congratulate the opening of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. So let's not dwell on the details, okay? The representative from the Central Chamber of Commerce said a few ambiguous words, then lightly changed the topic. Everyone who came to attend the ceremony had a higher status than him. He shouldn't have said this, but considering his status as the representative of the Central Chamber of Commerce, no one stood up to object. Ping Jinshin was a little dumbfounded. If even the Central Chamber of Commerce didn't support his words, then he would really be courting death. The Universal Chamber of Commerce planned to use this matter to form an alliance with the Central Chamber of Commerce to suppress the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Based on the estimation of the Universal Chamber of Commerce, the Central Chamber of Commerce was currently locked in a fierce battle with the Hong Chamber of Commerce. If they took the initiative to extend an olive branch, they would at least not reject it. Both sides would benefit from working together, so what reason was there not to cooperate? Ping Jinshin glanced at the warden and cursed in his heart. He must have been sent by the Central Chamber of Commerce. This small fry has no right to make decisions. He should have informed the higher-ups first. The current situation was a little awkward. He could only temporarily give up on dealing with the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce and look for another opportunity in the future. Taking advantage of the Central Chamber of Commerce's deacon's words, Shangwani calmly invited everyone to visit the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, as if nothing had happened. Ping Jinshin was treated like air. He did not even look at him when he walked past him. Lin Yi smiled slightly. Although Shangwani did not show much of his ability to control the situation, it was still over without any trouble. From his performance, it seemed that he was more than qualified to be the president of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. The opening ceremony was almost over. The place where the guests were invited was a restaurant near the Tiandan Pavilion. After Shangwani brought everyone around for a while, he politely led most of the guests to the restaurant. Other than the Universal Chamber of Commerce and the Central Chamber of Commerce, which are not easy to deal with, the rest of the guests happily went to the restaurant for the banquet. Eating was not the most important thing. The most important thing was to take the opportunity to build relationships and network. As the behind-the-scenes owner of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, Lin Yi naturally had to attend. However, the Okuda brothers and a few of his close friends stayed behind. It would not be too late to go there later. While they were talking, a stunning beauty appeared at the entrance of the Tiandan Pavilion. Whether it was her appearance or temperament, she was not inferior to the Tiandan Pavilion's proprietress, Tian Chan or Sydney. Without waiting for the receptionist to greet her, she walked directly to Lin Yi. Why is she here? Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He turned to look at Ho Guanxi and saw that he was also at a loss. It seemed that he did not expect to see her here. Master Li Zhao, Are you also here to congratulate the opening of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce? Okuda brothers cupped their fists from afar and took the initiative to greet her. Needless to say, the only young woman who could make them take the initiative to greet her was the chief alchemist of the Alchemy Hall, Li Zhaoyi. In the invitation list made by Shangwani, Li Zhaoyi, who had some friendship with Lin Yi, was naturally not left out. However, when the invitation was sent yesterday, it was not directly delivered to her. Since she did not come before, they thought that she would not come. Okuda Island Master, Captain Okuda. Li Zhaoyi bowed with a plain face, and then nodded to greet Ho Guanqi, Kai Zhongyang, and the others who followed her. Then she asked, the opening of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce? Was it established by Lin Yi? Everyone was stunned. After all this time, she did not come to congratulate the opening of the Chamber of Commerce. She did not even know that there was such a thing. After Li Zhaoyi finished speaking, she realized that her question seemed to be a little inappropriate, so she smiled and nodded perfunctorily. Yes, I'm here to congratulate the opening of the Chamber of Commerce. Lin Yi, I wish you a prosperous business. Lin Yi was speechless. There was no sincerity in her words at all. Probably no one present would believe her. Whoever believed her would be stupid. Thank you. By the way, what else did you come to find me for? Lin Yi did not beat around the bush with her. He did not know what this strange girl was going to do. Seeing that he was going to the South Continent today, if it was not a particularly troublesome matter, he would help her if he could. Brother Lin, let's go over there to drink tea and chat first. You can come by yourself later. Okuda Ba signaled the others to leave quickly, but there was an inexplicable, ambiguous feeling in their eyes. Lin Yi saw it and was secretly amused. It was obviously not correct to say that there was no relationship between him and Li Zhaoyi, but it did not seem appropriate to say that there was a relationship between them. It was quite difficult to define. Li Zhaoyi's pretty face blushed slightly. She was just a little cold. She could still understand the eyes of these guys, but it was not easy for her to distinguish anything. She could only force herself to be calm and maintain that indifferent look. When Okuda Ba and the others all left the Tiandan Pavilion, Lin Yi smiled and said, you don't have to care about them. What's the matter? Li Zhaoyi stared hard at Lin Yi. Okuda Ba and the others did not say anything. What did he mean by don't have to care about them? He really touched my sore spot. Lin Yi coughed dryly. He felt that when he faced this strange girl, he was indeed a little abnormal. It was better to say less. Chapter 61:31. After sitting down, it was Lin Yi who broke the awkwardness and spoke first. If he continued to remain silent, he would start to feel awkward. Well, junior sister, what brings you here today? You're not going to refine pills again, are you? As soon as the words left his mouth, Lin Yi regretted it. Would Li Zhaoyi think that he was flirting with her? The last time the two of them worked together to refine pills, everyone was well aware of what happened. Saying that was tantamount to bringing up the past again. Sure enough, when Li Zhaoyi heard that, her pretty face suddenly turned red at a speed visible to the naked eye. In an instant, her face looked like it was about to drip blood. However, there was not much shame in her two big eyes, but more anger. Oh, by the way, junior sister, have you heard from Master recently? Is it possible that he will be back soon? Lin Yi smiled bitterly to himself and quickly changed the topic, although it was a little stiff no. Li Zhaoyi replied coldly and stiffly. After a pause, she continued, I came to you this time because I need your help with something. Lin Yi breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It seemed that this weird girl had adjusted her emotions. Perhaps she did not continue to fly into a rage because she needed his help. However, it did not matter. It was fine as long as she let go of the mistake just now. Junior sister, if you need my help, just tell me. I will definitely help if I can. Lin Yi did not dare to guarantee anything, so he still left some leeway in his words. It was because Li Zhaoyi could always find something that he could not do, so it was safer to be conservative. Do you have time these days? I want to invite you to go to a place with me. It may take about a month or two. Li Zhaoyi did not stand on ceremony with Lin Yi and directly put forward her request. Before coming to look for Lin Yi, Li Zhaoyi should have already thought it through, so she spoke very naturally, as if she was only waiting for Lin Yi to agree to set off directly. Lin Yi frowned slightly. 1 to 2 months was too long. If it was 3 to 5 days, he could still delay it. But after 1 to 2 months, he would be ready to set off for the East Continent. What about the South Continent? He did not dare to pin all his hopes on Languza. This guy was definitely good at eating, fighting, acting cool, and acting cool. How Zili and the other two were more reliable when it came to spying. Unfortunately, the leader this time was Languza. Even if a reliable person followed him, he would become somewhat unreliable. Therefore, Lin Yi from the South Continent had to make a trip in person. Is it very difficult? Li Zhaoyi saw that Lin Yi did not answer, but frowned and suddenly became a little unhappy. I just want you to accompany me to a place for a month or 2. Do you have to be so difficult? Junior sister, it's not that I don't want to help. It's just that after the matter here today, I have to set off for the South Continent. This matter is quite urgent. It's too long to delay it for a month or 2. If it's just 3 to 5 days, then it's not a problem. Lin Yi waved his hand and decided to tell the truth. This was something that he had promised Shanghai Tianhua, and he had to do it no matter what. If Li Zhaoyi had made an appointment with Lin Yi on the far north island, he would definitely consider rearranging the time and itinerary. You're going to the South Continent today? Why didn't you tell me in advance? Li Zhaoyi looked stunned, but she was not unhappy after being rejected. Lin Yi was speechless. Why did I tell you that I was going to the South Continent? Originally, it was to inquire about the information of the center in the South Continent. Except for the few most trusted people around him, even Hou Guanxi, Kai Zhongyang, and the others did not know, so as not to leak the news and alert the center. Wouldn't it be crazy to specially go to the pill hall to tell you? Li Zhaoyi suddenly smiled, waved her hand, and said, well, this matter is not important. In fact, the place I want you to accompany me is in the South Continent. Going back and forth to the South Continent, including the time delayed, is about a month or 2. Since your original destination is the South Continent, this time can naturally be ignored. After you get there, it won't take too much of your time. You also want to go to the South Continent? Lin Yi shook his head with a wry smile. This weird girl did not make it clear earlier, causing him to deliberately refuse once. Not to mention that he could not refuse now. He reckoned that Li Zhaoyi might not appreciate it even if he agreed. Yes, the place I want to go is in the South Continent. This time it's on the way. You have nothing to say, right? Li Zhaoyi showed a rare look of pride, as if she was happy to see Lin Yi being defeated. Since it's on the way, let's go together. Is it okay to leave tonight? Lin Yi did not argue with Li Zhaoyi, and quickly settled the matter. No problem. Aren't you going to ask me what I'm going to do in the South Continent? Li Zhaoyi couldn't help but ask. Was Lin Yi really not curious at all? Oh, little junior sister, what are you going to do in the South Continent? Lin Yi readily followed her advice and immediately cooperated with her. Li Zhaoyi suddenly became angry. Why was this attitude so hateful? If she didn't know that she could not beat him, she really want to beat him up? I have a clue of an ancient relic here. It is said that it was left by an alchemy master. There are many treasures in alchemy, so I want to go and have a look. For the sake of my master, I will take you with me. Li Zhaoyi glared at Lin Yi with hatred, and then told him the purpose of going to the South Continent. Didn't you come to me for help? How did it become you taking me with you? Lin Yi smiled slightly, deliberately teasing Li Zhaoyi. This weird girl was quite arrogant, and he would feel sorry for himself if he didn't tease her. I am taking you with me, and it is for the sake of my master. Li Zhaoyi emphasized her tone, and at the same time, she widened her eyes, indicating that she would not accept Lin Yi's refutation. Okay, you can take me with you. Thank you. Feeling the strong, murderous intent in her eyes, Lin Yi wisely did not continue to tease this weird girl, and asked about the relic. You said that the ancient relic was left by an alchemy master. Is there any evidence? Besides you, does anyone else know about it? To be honest, Lin Yi was also very curious about the relic of this alchemy master. Not long ago, he had just gone with the will of heaven to the relic of a cultivator of the battle art of creation, and as a result, Han Jingjing took in a 10,000-year-old tortoise as a spirit puppet. Could it be that the relic of the South Continent was deliberately left behind to fish again? Was there also a 10,000-year-old alchemy master's spirit inside that was ready to take over? Of course, even if it was really a trap, Lin, he was not afraid. He was best at dealing with spirits, as long as there were good things inside. Chapter 61:32. Li Zhaoyi's identity was extremely respectable. Not only was she the head refiner, but she was also Zhang Liju's personal disciple. In terms of qualifications, Hou Guanqi couldn't compare to her. Zhang Dongjue and the others know as well. Lin frowned. This was the bad thing about the pill hall. Zhang Liju, this cheap master, wasn't here, and even if Zhang Dongjue was the most powerful vice head, even if he suffered a lot in the extreme North Island, it didn't shake his foundation. Plus, the automatic furnaces of the Yao sect were selling like hotcakes these days, and Zhang Dongjue gained a lot of glory as well. His position in the pill hall was becoming more and more stable. Zhang Dongjue knows that this time, that annoying guy from House Zhang will be going to Nanzhou. Other than that, there are a few other high-level members of the pill hall who might be going, but they haven't been decided yet. I don't want to go with them, so I ask for your help. I want to enter the ruins, and it's a bit difficult to go alone. Li Zhaoyi was very frank. As long as Lin wanted to know, she would tell him everything in detail. Lin nodded faintly. He didn't want to argue whether it was Li Zhaoyi bringing him or him bringing Li Zhaoyi. The key was that House Zhang was involved, and he wouldn't be at ease if he didn't accompany Li Zhaoyi. So many people from the pill hall are going. It seems like they're determined to get the ruins. Is it okay for you to bring me there alone? Lin, he asked casually. In fact, he was thinking that with Li Zhaoyi by his side, even if the center found out that he was going to Nanzhou, he would have a reasonable excuse. When he needed to gather information in Nanzhou, he could wear red dust manifestation and change his identity to move in the dark. Not only would there be no conflict between the two, but there might even be unexpected rewards. Don't worry, nothing will happen to the person I'm bringing along. Plus, the things in the ruins don't have to belong to anyone. We're all from the pill hall, and it's up to our own destinies. At most, we'll just have to contribute one portion to the pill hall. Li Zhaoyi raised her chin, looking very proud. She did have the confidence to say something like this. After all, her identity was there, and even Zhang Dongjue wouldn't dare be presumptuous in front of her. That's settled then. We'll set off tonight. Let's go eat something first, shall we? Lin stood up and invited Li Zhaoyi to the restaurant for dinner. After such a long delay, the other side was probably waiting for him, the behind-the-scenes boss, to appear. Forget about eating. I didn't expect you to set off for the South Continent so soon, so I have to go back and pack up first. When you're done here, come to the pill hall to find me. Li Zhaoyi shook her head. She had no interest in banquets and socializing, so she didn't need to think about it and directly refused. Lin naturally would not force her. After accompanying her out of the Tiandan Pavilion, they went their separate ways. The Dan Hall and the restaurant happened to be in two different directions, and this time they did not go the same way. When they arrived at the restaurant, sure enough, everyone who came was waiting for Lin Yi. When the Chamber of Commerce opened just now, he didn't say much. If he didn't say a few words now, it seemed that no one was going to eat. Everyone, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to support the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. I'm very grateful. I won't say too many polite words. In the future, I still need friends here to do me the favor and support the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Here, on behalf of President Shang Wani and all the staff of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, I thank you all again. Lin, he said a few simple words. Anyway, they were all polite words. He said it casually, and the others just listened. He was just going through the motions and was happy. Master Lin is too polite. It's our honor to be invited by the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. In the future, we still need Master Lin and the Chamber of Commerce to take care of us. An elder of a small family stood up enthusiastically to express his support. Although Lin, he hadn't seen him before, he had a good impression of the first person who stood up. Well said. Master Lin can establish the Chamber of Commerce. It's a blessing for all of us in the Middle Island. If we don't support Master Lin, who else can we support? Some people who didn't want to be left behind also stood up hurriedly to express that they were on Lin Yi's side. Then, this kind of situation became more and more frequent. Anyway, the people sitting here were basically people who want to be on good terms with Lin Yi. Everyone helped him. Everyone helped him. Although the leaders of the various sects didn't come, it was obviously not wrong to show enough kindness to Lin Yi. As for those who were really close to Lin Yi, such as Kai Zhongyang of the Five Elements Commerce, Ho Guanqi of the Dan Hall, Wei Shenjin and the elders of the Snow Sword faction, and so on, they didn't come out to express their support first. Because everyone knew their relationship with Lin Yi, it wouldn't be good for them to stand up for him. Lin Yi said a few more polite words, and then the banquet officially began. He sat beside Okuda Zhou and Okuda Dam and whispered to each other, "Brother Lin, your growth is really too fast. From now on, it's your turn to take care of me." Okuda Zhou waited for Lin Yi to sit down and said half jokingly and half seriously. He also raised his glass to toast Lin Yi. "Brother Okuda, you're treating me like an outsider. Don't say that I don't have much ability. Even if I really grow up with the relationship between you and me as brothers, what else do you need to say?" Lin Yi smiled slightly, raised his glass, and said humbly, "Originally, Okuda Zhou had always respected Lin Yi, but it wasn't as obvious as it was now. It could even be said that his attitude was very low. It was probably because he heard about the things that happened on the extreme North Island. Not to mention that Lin Yi was valued by the Li family's sea-splitting stage Old Monster Li Lin. Just as achievements in fighting against the Sea Beast Tide was enough for Okuda Zhou to be willing to put down his pride and make friends with Lin Yi. The acting island master of the Middle Island sounded very glorious, but in the ancient families, it was just a spokesperson on the surface. Inside the family, it was not a core. Those ancestors of the sea-splitting stage would hardly pay attention to such a spokesperson. Lin Yi, with his own strength, had obtained far more attention than Okuda Zhou in the ancient families. To be honest, he really envied Lin Yi from the bottom of his heart. "That's enough, second brother. Brother Lin isn't so pretentious. We've been through life and death together. It's not something that can be said clearly. It's fine as long as you know it in your heart." Okuda Ba waved his hand casually, interrupting the pleasantries between Lin Yi and Okuda Zhou. He raised his glass, and the three people raised their heads and smiled. As the president of the Chamber of Commerce, Shang Wani was busy shuttling back and forth between the tables. So, Lin Yi didn't need to appear in person. He just sat there and chatted with the others. Seeing that it was almost time, he said goodbye and quietly left the restaurant with Tian Chan and Sydney. He took out the UFO and flew to the island where the wormhole was located. Chapter 61-33. The Chamber of Commerce is managed by President Shang Wani. It doesn't really matter if the two of us are there or not. Why don't we accompany you to the southern continent this time? Tian Chan's eyes darted around, and she suggested going to the southern continent with Lin Yi. "That won't do. Let's not talk about whether you guys will affect my operation if you go to the southern continent. I can't do without the two of you. Jing is focused on studying the wormhole, so you guys have to cooperate with her. Jing can't be counted on to transport the goods, so you guys have to worry about it." Lin Yi's words made sense. The wormhole was the top secret at the moment, and only Tian Chan and Sydney knew about it. If it were someone else, he wouldn't be at ease. If Han Jing could figure out how to destroy the center's wormhole exit, the center's good days would really come to an end. By then, the island would be even more important, so the fewer people who knew about it, the safer it would be. It was a pity that Tian Xing had been in seclusion and had not come out. Otherwise, he would have been able to focus on his cultivation and protect Han Jing. In addition, Wang Ba was here. With a senior who cultivated the creation battle art personally guiding him, Tian Xing's cultivation speed of the creation battle art might have been faster. Even though the will of heaven wanted to walk his own path, and Wang Ba's creation battle our cultivation did not have much reference value, it was definitely better to study and learn from each other than in isolation. This kind of face-to-face communication was completely different from just looking at cultivation experience. Yes, we will cooperate with Jing Jing. The wormhole exit is the foundation of the Chamber of Commerce, so it's more suitable for us to stay. Sydney nodded gently. Although she wanted to go to the southern continent with Lin, since he needed her to stay, she would stay. Tian-chan snorted and wrinkled her nose. Since you don't want us to go with you, do you have someone else in mind? For example, the pill Halsey Zowie who came to find you. Lin, he broke into a sweat. A woman's sixth sense was really terrifying. He had not said anything, but she could guess it immediately. However, it seemed that he didn't want them to go to the South Continent because of Li Zowie. If he didn't explain it clearly, the two of them would definitely be unhappy. Li Zowie is indeed going to the South Continent, but she is not going with me. Instead, the Alchemy Hall got the news that there is a relic of an ancient alchemist in the South Continent. She came to me for help to explore it. I happen to be going to the Southern Continent, and I'm also interested in the ruins, so I agreed to accompany her to have a look. Lin briefly explained the matter and didn't intend to hide it. So that's how it is. All right, seeing that you're quite honest, I won't argue with you. But if there's a next time, you must come with us. Tian-chan didn't pester Lin too much. Anyway, they were already used to Lin having another female confidant from time to time. What's more, the Heaven Stage Island had always been a place where the strong were respected. As long as you were strong enough, no one would interfere no matter how many lovers you had. Tian-chan, how did you guess that Li Zowie would go to the South Continent with me? Don't tell me it's a sixth sense, a woman's intuition, or something like that. Lin nodded with a smile as a promise, and then asked curiously, Yes, it's intuition. Do you think I'm eavesdropping on you talking about love? Tian-chan rolled her eyes at Lin Yi. Even if she wanted to eavesdrop, she couldn't hide it from Lin Yi's perception. What's more, how could she do this kind of thing? Not really. I just want to say that your intuition is quite good. By the way, why do you sound jealous? Lin Yi controlled the flying saucer to land on the island and casually joked with Tian-chan. Tian-chan giggled and said, Why are you jealous? If you talk nonsense again, I'll kick you. What Tian-chan means is that we're both floating in a sea of jealousy. Why should we be jealous over such a small thing? Sydney covered her mouth and snickered, then teased him. As they joked, the matter of Li Zowie was officially put aside. After putting away the flying saucer, Lin Yi brought the two of them to the exit of the wormhole. Han Jingjing was still studying the wormhole with all her attention, while Wang Ba was sorting out the goods that were sent from the secular world. In fact, he could just use the storage ring to store them, but Han Jingjing felt that he was too free, so she gave him something to do so that he would not think too much. Boss Lin Yi, you're here. Seeing the three of them coming in, Wang Ba quickly went up and greeted them with a bow and a nod. After being taught a lesson by Lin Yi twice, Wang Ba was completely traumatized by him. The extent of the trauma was so huge that it was basically incalculable. Brother Lin Yi, is everything done over there? When Han Jingjing heard Wang Ba, she lifted her head and greeted Tian-chan and Sydney with a smile. Then, she asked about the opening of the Chamber of Commerce. Yes, the Chamber of Commerce has officially opened. The business on the first day is quite good. Is there any progress on your side? Lin Yi smiled and walked to Han Jingjing's side. He looked at her laptop screen. Unfortunately, Lin Yi did not understand anything on the screen at all, so it made no difference whether he looked at it or not. Yes, regarding the wormhole, I can't destroy the exit in the center yet. However, I found something special about the wormhole. Brother Lin, look, this is a small device that I just made. As long as it's here, when using the wormhole, it can't return to its original state after it disintegrates into particles. Han Jingjing swiped on the table twice and found a black round piece the size of fingernail from the pile of bits and pieces. She placed it on her palm like she was presenting a treasure and showed it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi was slightly stunned. He did not understand at that moment. What exactly could this black round piece be used for? Was it meaningful for them to destroy the teleportation item? Han Jingjing slapped her forehead and said with a smile, Brother Lin Yi, Do you not understand what this thing is used for? I'm sorry, I didn't make it clear. Before Lin Yi could speak, Han Jingjing turned around and typed a series of commands on a laptop keyboard. Then, a 3D drawing appeared on the screen. Lin Yi could understand it. It was an automatic alchemy furnace. It seemed like Jing Jing had designed a new automatic alchemy furnace to fight against the famed medicine sect. Brother Lin Yi, I designed a new automatic alchemy furnace while I was researching the wormhole. After it's made, there's no need for an alchemist. As long as a cultivator inserts their vital qi, they can refine pills on their own. However, the level of the pills isn't high. The upper limit is yellow level rank 5, which is the same as what the famed medicine sect sells. Han Jingjing pointed at the 3D drawing on a laptop and gave a simple introduction to Lin Yi. Chapter 61:34. As long as Linny Bro thinks it's enough, it's good. The only thing I'm worried about is that once the automatic furnace is sold, those refiners who worked so hard to learn would have no way to survive. Is that really the right thing to do? Han Jingjing sighed softly. Naturally, the things she made were for the public's convenience. But this way, those refiners, who were supposed to be noble, might lose their ability to survive. Yellow-ranked level 5 elixirs were widely used on the Heavenly Island, and alchemists who could refine yellow-ranked level 5 elixirs, other than the East Continent, were all highly sought after by all the sects on the other islands. With an automatic alchemy furnace, an ordinary cultivator would be able to refine a level 5 elixir just by injecting true qi into it. What would they need these alchemists for? Because of that, Han Jingjing did feel a little guilty, but she was more worried that it would cause trouble for Lin Yi. The appearance of the automatic furnace would affect the huge organization known as the Hall of Elixirs. Not counting Zhang Liju, the head refiner of the Hall of Elixirs, Li Zhaoyi, was barely a Mystic Level 2 refiner, and the rest didn't even have Mystic Level 1. Golden Level 5 refiners were definitely the pillars of the Hall of Elixirs. Wouldn't the Hall of Elixirs hold a grudge against Tiandan Pavilion Merchant Association for selling the automatic furnace? Lin Yi smiled faintly. Han Jingjing didn't need to say it out loud to understand what she was thinking, but it wasn't a big deal. Jing Jing, you think automatic alchemy furnaces will affect the survival of alchemists, but I don't think so. A yellow rank 5th level alchemist only needs to put in a little more effort to break through this limit. Therefore, selling automatic alchemy furnaces will encourage more alchemists to pursue higher ranks and not be satisfied with the current situation. Lin Yi's words made sense, but there was a precondition, and that was if Han Jingjing didn't upgrade the furnace. If there were upgrades in the future and normal people could make higher level pills, then there really wouldn't be a need for refiners to exist anymore. Did Han Jingjing have the ability to upgrade the furnace? Just look at Lin Yi's Shinong Cauldron and you'd know the answer. Big brother Lin Yi's words make sense. Forget it. Jing Jing doesn't need to worry about those alchemists anymore. Han Jingjing smiled and waved her hand. As long as Lin Yi said there was no problem, she was relieved. Besides, our automatic alchemy furnace still has some limitations. The materials inside need to be changed regularly so that ordinary cultivators can practice alchemy. It can also be considered as increasing the cost of alchemy for these people. Jing Jing, you made this little thing to prevent the automatic pill furnace from being teleported back to the secular world, right? Lin Yi picked up the black disc and realized. The automatic alchemy furnace of the medicine sect must have been given to them by the center, and the things in the center were definitely derived from the automatic alchemy furnace that Han Jingjing had sold in the secular world. In this aspect, Han Jingjing was definitely an existence that had always been imitated and never surpassed. When a new automatic alchemy furnace appeared, the center would definitely study it immediately. Even if the central base of Heavenly Island had a technological laboratory, it would most likely not be too advanced. They would probably still have to send the samples back to the secular world. Han Jingjing made this black disc in preparation for a rainy day. If the center could send the automatic alchemy furnace back to the secular world, they could consider themselves impressive if they could replicate it on Heavenly Island. Big brother Lin is so amazing. You guessed it right away. Han Jingjing smiled and clapped her hands. Then, she pointed at the black disc in Lin Yi's hand and said, actually, in addition to destroying the recombination of particles during teleportation, this thing also has an anti-hacking function. No matter who it is, if they want to forcefully disassemble the automatic alchemy furnace, this device will destroy the program inside and completely reformat the system. It looks like it won't be so easy for the center to make a copy this time. Jing Jing, is the automatic alchemy furnace troublesome? Can it be mass-produced? Linny knew that the medicine sect had a sufficient supply of automatic alchemy furnaces. If Han Jingjing could only make a dozen or 20 of them, they probably would not be able to fight against the medicine sect. It's not a big problem. Wang Ba has a forging pool here. He can help cast the furnace's outer embryo because it's relatively simple. There's no need to worry about time. Jing Jing will get Brother Dafeng to purchase the sophisticated technological components from the secular world and teleport them over. Finally, we just need to assemble it. Prepare for a few days, and we'll be able to mass-produce it soon. Han Jingjing had already calculated this, so she explained to Lin Yi in an orderly manner. It doesn't matter if it's a few days late. Jing Jing, you don't have to be too anxious. Take care of your body. Tian Chan and Sydney will help with this. After the production, we'll hand it over to Shang Wani to arrange the sales. Lin Yi smiled. He had already decided to go to the South Continent today. Otherwise, he would like to see the automatic alchemy furnaces and the confrontation with his own eyes. Boss Lin, look, I'm going to help Master cast the furnace. Although it's just a rough embryo, it's still very draining. In my current state, I'll delay Master's business. Wang Ba felt that he could be of some use again, so he quickly came over and said with a flattering smile. Although he did not say it explicitly, everyone knew that this guy was begging Lin Yi to heal his primordial spirit. Or rather, he was begging Lin Yi to give him a few drops of Black Sea soul-condensing liquid. Lin Yi glanced at Wang Ba, and this guy suddenly felt a chill in his heart. He could not help but shrink back, and the shadow in his heart seemed to be increasing. I'll leave some Black Sea soul-condensing liquid in your master's hands. Perform well. Lin Yi warned Wang Ba in a calm tone. With the previous lesson, he would not waste the Black Sea soul-condensing liquid to completely heal this guy's primordial spirit. Yes. I'll definitely perform well. Don't worry, Boss Lin Yi. Wang Ba immediately nodded and agreed. He was satisfied with the result. Han Jingjing was not Lin Yi. Although she was extremely smart, it was only in the field of research. It was possible to trick her into giving him a few more drops of Black Sea soul-condensing liquid. Lin Yi waved his hand and sent Wang Ba to the casting pool to cast the rough embryo of the furnace. The refining materials needed for this kind of furnace were not high, so it was enough for him to work for a while. After chatting with Han Jingjing for a while, Lin Yi took out 2 storage bags and handed them to Tian Chan and Sydney. He asked them to take some of the goods back. Han Jingjing's storage ring had her own divine sense mark, so others could not open it. If she did not return to Middle Island, the ring would be useless. The storage bag did not have a large space, so the goods that could be taken were limited. However, Tian Chan and Sydney were still very happy. Han Jingjing felt that she should bring forward the research on making storage rings. By then, everyone would have storage equipment with a large space, so it would be convenient for them to come and go. Chapter 6135. As soon as Lin Yi arrived at the entrance of the pill hall, Li Zhaoyi quickly walked out to greet him. She had probably waited for a long time, and her eagerness was evident. Lin Yi, have you finished your business? Can we go now? Li Zhaoyi didn't avoid the disciples at the entrance of the pill hall. They didn't know what she was talking about anyway. Yes, are you ready? Lin Yi nodded, but he felt that his question was a little redundant. Looking at Li Zhaoyi's expression, he knew that she had already prepared everything. Sure enough, Li Zhaoyi smiled. Of course, I'm waiting for you. After she finished speaking, she casually took out an exquisite whistle and blew into it. The clear sound of the whistle rang out, and a flying spiritual beast with a wingspan of over 10 meters immediately flew over from the back of the pill hall and landed steadily on the street in front of the door. In the central area of Middle Island, flying spiritual beasts were basically forbidden, but this was only for ordinary cultivators and foreign cultivators. The top forces were not in this category, and the Pill Hall was naturally one of the top forces. Are we going on a flying spiritual beast? Lin Yi originally wanted to say that his flying saucer would be faster, but Li Zhaoyi had already arranged everything, so the flying saucer would be a backup choice. Yes, I heard that you've been there on a flying spiritual beast before. There should be no problem this time, right? Li Zhaoyi said as she boarded the flying spiritual beast and called Lin Yi to hurry up. The disciples at the door were a little stunned. Master Li Zhaoyi used to give people the impression that he was very aloof and arrogant. Although he wasn't the kind of person who kept people 1,000 miles away, it was indeed difficult to get close to him. What was going on today? Not only was he talking and laughing, but he even took the initiative to invite others to ride on a flying spiritual beast. Who was that guy? How could he be so favored by Master Li Zhaoyi? Well, in fact, some of them knew Lin Yi and knew that he was one of the few alchemy masters in Middle Island. Speaking of which, he was similar to Li Zhaoyi. They were both alchemy geniuses, so they became friends. Naturally, Lin Yi didn't know what the disciple at the door was thinking. He nodded and got on the flying spirit beast. After they took off, he casually asked, "Little junior sister, how did you know that I rode a flying spirit beast to the South Continent before? Your heroic deeds have spread far and wide. I just need to ask around a little to find out." Li Zhaoyi smiled faintly. Lin Yi, however, felt that this strange girl was clearly talking nonsense. Perhaps many people knew that he was going to the South Continent, but not many people knew that he was going to the South Continent on a flying spirit beast. However, it didn't matter. It wasn't a secret, and she knew it. Flying in the air with Li Zhaoyi to the South Continent, Lin Yi couldn't help but think of Huang Xiaodao. He wondered how she was doing now. Last time, the two of them flew to the South Continent like this. At that time, they had just broken through to the early stage of Gold Core, and their divine senses were not very strong. Now that they thought about it, they were really lucky to arrive safely. Lin Yi, you have the route map and compass to the South Continent, don't you? If not, I have prepared it here. Do you want to take a look? Looking at the vast and endless sea in front of her, Li Zhaoyi suddenly became a little worried. This was the first time she had flown so far away, so she couldn't help but ask Lin Yi, wanting to find some sense of security from his words. No, my route map and compass from last time are still here. With the speed of this flying spirit beast, if everything goes well, we can reach the Weiqian Sea in about 6 or 7 days. Lin Yi woke up from his memories and said casually. Then he smiled faintly. Junior sister, shouldn't you call me senior brother? It's fine when there are outsiders here, but it's only the two of us. Isn't it inappropriate to call my name so directly? Whether it's senior brother or not, we'll talk about it after I see Master. Li Zhaoyi snorted lightly and turned her head proudly, ignoring Lin Yi. However, talking to Lin Yi made her feel a lot more relaxed. When will the rest of the people from the Pill Hall set off? Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't argue with her. Instead, he asked about the competitors this time. Actually, it was mainly the people from the Zheng family. This time, they were going to explore the ruins obediently. It was fine if everyone competed fairly, but if they still caused trouble with Lin Yi all day, they would really be courting death. Even the Pill Hall couldn't protect their reputation. They will probably set off tomorrow or the day after. This group of cowards is afraid of getting lost in the sea fog, so they're going to take a treasure ship to the South Continent. If we are faster, we might be able to finish exploring the ruins before they arrive. Li Zhaoyi's face was full of disdain. The reason why she was unwilling to move with the people from the Pill Hall, other than the few people from the Zheng family, was mainly because of this. Going out to explore, but being afraid of danger and being overcautious, wasn't it better to stay at home and cultivate in seclusion? Running out to make a fool of yourself. Whether it was cultivation or alchemy, opportunities were extremely important. Without opportunities, there was naturally nothing to say. However, if you didn't work hard to grasp opportunities and couldn't improve yourself, then you deserved it. If it could really be so fast, why didn't you say 10 or 20 days when you came to find me? Why did you say 1 or 2 months? He shook his head and muttered in a low voice. Without waiting for Li Zhaoyi to refute, he continued to ask, where exactly is the ancient alchemist's ruins? Don't tell me it's on the South Island. Li Zhaoyi turned around and looked at Lin Yi as if she was looking at an idiot. After a while, she said lightly, the South Island has been the world of the spirit beasts since ancient times, and the spirit beasts have the lowest demand for elixirs. Which alchemist do you think would be so idiotic as to go to the spirit beast territory to open up his own cave abode? Lin Yi was speechless. This was very reasonable, and he actually had nothing to say. However, after saying so much, could she tell him the specific location? After a slight pause, a trace of embarrassment flashed in Li Zhaoyi's eyes, but her pretty face still remained expressionless. It's not convenient to tell you the specific location now. When we reach the South Continent, you will naturally know. If you say so, can I assume that you actually don't know where the ruins are? Lin Yi looked at Li Zhaoyi suspiciously. This weird girl was really weird. Could it be that she really didn't know and planned to slowly look for clues in the South Continent? How is that possible? Do you think I'm very idle? Of course, I go only because I know the specific location. Li Zhaoyi raised her decibel a little, but in Lin Yi's view, it was a performance of being fierce in appearance but weak in heart. If you know, just say it. Otherwise, I don't even know the location. I don't want to take unnecessary risks. Lin Yi smiled slightly. Although it was a little shameless to scare her like this, he could only use strange methods to deal with this weird girl. Chapter 61:36. Lin Yi pricked up his ears and pretended to be listening attentively. I really don't know the specific location yet, but it will be displayed when we reach South Continent. Li Zhaoyi was a little guilty. She said that, but she couldn't guarantee whether it would really be displayed when the time came. Where will it be displayed? Lin Yi looked as if he had expected it. He stretched out his hand in front of Li Zhaoyi and motioned for her to take out the thing to have a look. Li Zhaoyi pouted slightly and reluctantly took out a palm-sized jade plate. It was blank and there was nothing on it. What is this? Lin Yi took it and looked at it. He even used his divine sense to penetrate into it, but he didn't find anything useful. Li Zhaoyi's eyes wandered. She looked left and right, but didn't look at Lin Yi. Finally, she felt uncomfortable being stared at by him, and finally said, "This is the location plate of the relic. As long as we reach the South Continent Sea, it will display the specific location of the relic. Don't think that there is nothing on it now, but it will naturally display the sea map of South Continent." Then why are you so sure that the relic is not on the South Island? Lin Yi was speechless. He originally thought that Li Zhaoyi, this weird girl, was at most a little weird. He didn't expect her to be so unreliable. Didn't I say it before? Who would go to the territory of the spirit beasts to build a cave abode? Li Zhaoyi argued boldly. Lin Yi couldn't be bothered to argue with her, so he waved his hand and let it go. What is the effective range of this location plate? The entire South Continent Sea? Or is it only a small sea area, such as the Y-Arc Sea area, Jinwan Sea area, and so on? Or even smaller, only the size of city? Lin Yi felt that Li Zhaoyi was a little unreliable, so he had to figure out this key point first. Li Zhaoyi paused, and her eyes began to wander again. Lin Yi sighed softly. Well, it was clear without asking. This unreliable weird girl couldn't figure out the range at all. Was her plan to take out the location plate and fly around the entire sea area until the information was displayed? Junior sister, now I know that 1 or 2 months was definitely an underestimation. If there was a problem with the compass, let alone 1 or 2 months, it would take 1 or 2 years to find a place. Do the other people in the pill hall also have this kind of compass? Lin Yi slapped his forehead. He wondered if this kind of compass needed to be placed together for it to be effective. If that was really the case, he would have to find the Zheng clan's people to help him. Just thinking about it was quite annoying. Yes, they also have one, but according to the records, these two are exactly the same. So there's no difference between having 1 and 2. Li Zhaoyi finally heard a question that she could answer, and she couldn't help but feel a little happy. Lin, he heaved a sigh of relief. At least he didn't have to look for the Zheng clan to cooperate. Otherwise, he would really be afraid that he wouldn't be able to hold it in and would directly snatch it away. That would be too embarrassing for the Dan Hall. I'll believe you this time. Take the compass. Let's talk about the rest when we reach the South Continent. Lin, he handed the jade plate back to Li Zhaoyi. He didn't have much hope for this relic search. It was better to do what Shanghai Tianhua asked him to do first, and then accompany her to look for it. Li Zhaoyi probably felt that she was in the wrong. She put away the compass embarrassedly and didn't know what to say for a while, so the two of them fell into a long silence. In the first 1 or 2 days, there wouldn't be much sea fog, and the flying spiritual beasts could tell the direction by themselves. When they reached the area filled with sea fog, they would have to rely on Lin Yi to control and guide the way forward. Lin Yi, who had already experienced it once, was not worried about this. Now his strength was not comparable to that of the little early stage of the Gold Core realm. Even without the compass, his powerful divine sense could ensure that he wouldn't get lost. Since the two of them had nothing to say for a while, Lin Yi simply sat cross-legged on the back of the flying spiritual beast and began to cultivate. After getting the Xianhai soul-condensing liquid, he hadn't used it well. Taking advantage of the 1 or 2 days before entering the dense sea fog area, he was going to use a drop of the Xianhai soul-condensing liquid to try to strengthen his spirit. If his spirit could break through, his strength level would naturally rise. Once he entered the mountain opening period, he would be more confident in his trip to the South Continent. On the other side, on the 3rd day after Lenny left, Han Jingjing successfully made the first batch of automatic alchemy furnaces. After sending them to the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce in Zhongdao, they began to sell them in a high-profile manner. If the appearance of the automatic alchemy furnaces of the medicine sect caused a sensation in Zhongdao, then the automatic alchemy furnaces of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce directly ignited the enthusiasm of the entire Zhongdao. You want to refine pills, but you're not an alchemist? It doesn't matter. As long as you're a cultivator and have enough true qi, you can fulfill your dream of being an alchemist. For pills below the 5th grade of yellow rank, you don't need an alchemist. All you need is the automatic alchemy furnaces of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. Everything is not a problem. This news almost spread throughout the entire Zhongdao at the speed of a single spark setting a prairie ablaze. In the blink of an eye, the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was surrounded by a crazy crowd. Especially after seeing the live demonstration, no one could remain calm. What? The price of the automatic alchemy furnaces of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce is the same as that of the medicine sect? Are you kidding me? I'll pay double the price. Give me one. Outside the Tiandan Pavilion, a late Gold Core realm cultivator was filled with righteous indignation and shouted loudly. Unfortunately, he couldn't squeeze in at all. It was useless even if he shouted himself hoarse. In front of him, there were many cultivators in the great perfection of the Gold Core realm and the nascent soul realm. If they couldn't squeeze in, who was he? You want to buy such an artifact with double the price? Get lost, pauper. I'll pay 5 times the price. A cultivator in the great perfection of the Gold Core realm directly reached out and pulled him away from behind, shouting at the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. For a moment, it seemed to have become the scene of an auction, and it was the craziest kind of auction. As long as Shangwani was willing, this batch of automatic alchemy furnaces could definitely be sold at a sky-high price. Although the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce and the medicine sect seemed to have similar things, with only a slight difference. One needed an alchemist, while the other did not. But it was this slight difference that made the two completely different. Chapter 61:37. When the cultivators who were blocked outside saw Shangwani come out to speak, and no one could enter the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, they gradually quietened down. However, the eagerness in their eyes would not dissipate no matter what. Thank you, everyone. I'll make it short, so that I don't waste everyone's time." Shangwani smiled and was extremely satisfied. When he was the vice president of the Universal Chamber of Commerce, there was never such a glorious scene. Sure enough, leaving the Universal Chamber of Commerce and following Lin, he was the best choice. First of all, the automatic alchemy furnace is a product that Tiandan Pavilion has developed and produced. Therefore, there will be sufficient supply in the future. You don't have to fight for it. The earlier you play with it, the later you buy it. In fact, there's not much difference. Shangwani calmed himself down and gave everyone a reassurance to avoid any malicious incidents when they fought for the automatic alchemy furnace. There was a slight commotion in the crowd, but it subsided immediately. It did not affect Shangwani's speech. Although the Heavenly Dan Pavilion's Chamber of Commerce had promised to provide a sufficient supply of automatic alchemy furnaces, everyone wanted to buy one first before doing anything else. Everything was just an empty promise. What if something unexpected happened, and the Heavenly Dan Pavilion's Chamber of Commerce said that they had no way of supplying? Therefore, they still had to fight for it. There was no need to be polite. Today, we are selling the first batch of 20 automatic alchemy furnaces. We have already sold 2, so there are only 18 left. In other words, only 18 people here today can buy it. Those who can't buy it will have to wait for the second batch tomorrow. Here, I would like to apologize to everyone. I'm really sorry. The production is limited. After the technological innovation, there might be a significant increase. Shangwani looked regretful, but in fact, he was smiling happily in his heart. It was a pity that he could not show it. He could only be happy secretly. The first batch that Han Jingjing had sent was indeed only 20. At first, Shangwani felt that it was too little, but later on he felt that these 20 would perhaps cause more people to fight over it than if he had directly put in 200. It was precisely because there were so few of them that they were even more precious. Even if they couldn't buy them immediately, it didn't matter if they had to wait in line. Shangwani had never heard of hunger marketing, but what he was doing now was the essence of hunger marketing. As for the price, we are determined to maintain the original price. We will absolutely not raise the price. Also, we must state that the automatic alchemy furnace we sell will register the buyer's information. Within 30 days of sale, resale is prohibited. Within these 30 days, only the buyer can use it. If you want to resell it, you must wait until 30 days have passed. At that time, the restriction will be lifted and anyone can use it. Shangwani truly admired Han Jingjing's genius. She could even consider such small details. In this way, it would completely prevent people from maliciously buying and then selling at a higher price. The 30-day restriction period was not a hindrance to those who actually bought it, but to those who wanted to resell it for a huge profit, it was a disaster. Since the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce sells automatic alchemy furnaces every day, who would wait 30 days to buy the one in your hands? At most, they would have to wait 2 more days. Lastly, after using our automatic alchemy furnace for a period of time, the internal components of the furnace need to be replaced. The cost isn't high, and buyers with register information can enjoy a free replacement opportunity once a year. If you buy it from someone else and don't register, you won't have a free chance and will have to pay for it yourself. Shangwani spared no effort to crack down on scalpers. With such a measure, those who wanted to sell it would probably consider it carefully. President Shang, these are not important. I just want to know, how are the 18 automatic alchemy furnaces sold today? Don't tell me that the ones in front of me can buy it directly. A cultivator who was closer to the middle asked loudly. His position was around the 20th place, and it would be the end of the day before it was his turn to start the next round. Of course, the ones in front of me will buy it first. First come, first served. It's a matter of course. If you want it, please come early tomorrow. The 2 cultivators in front of him shouted loudly. According to the order, he would be able to buy it today, so he had to firmly support this method. Otherwise, wouldn't it be a waste of this advantage? However, the people in the back were the majority after all. If they really bought it in order, who knew when it would be their turn? For a moment, the people in the back began to clamor, trying to fight for a chance for themselves. Shangwani raised his hands and made a pressing gesture to signal the people below to be quiet. Then he smiled and said, "The friends in front of me will have some advantages, but the friends in the back can't be at a disadvantage." So we thought of a way. It can't be said to be perfect, but it can take care of most of our friends. "What is it?" "President Shang, just say it." "I'm so anxious." Someone shouted, and it was echoed by a large number of people. Only the 18 people in front were very dissatisfied. Unfortunately, there were too many people in the back, and it was useless no matter how dissatisfied they were. It's very simple. We'll use the method of drawing lots to decide the purchase quota today. Whether we can buy it or not depends on everyone's luck. Of course, the higher the rank, the higher the probability of getting it. As for the specific method, please read the explanation of the rules here. Shang Wani stood to the side slightly, and two staff from the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce immediately spread out a large cotton cloth. A sharp-eyed and quick-witted person had already read the rules on it out loud. In the first round of drawing lots, the 3 people in front will draw lots first. 1 out of 3 will get it, and the 2 people who don't get it in the first round will draw lots together. 1 out of 5 will get it, and the 4 people who don't get it will be postponed to the third round. They will draw lots together with the people in the 7th, 8th, and 9th round. 1 out of 7 will get it, and so on. There will be 2 more lots for each round, and the probability of winning will decrease accordingly. However, each person only has 3 chances to draw lots. Chapter 61:38. The only regret was that the number of people who could draw lots in a day was no more than 70 or 80. Those who were behind this number could only come early tomorrow. After the rules were announced, the voices of dissatisfaction suddenly decreased a lot. After all, they did have a chance, and it was better than directly following the order. If people who were behind 70 or 80 had objections, they would probably be embarrassed. After all, no one felt qualified to say that they wanted to buy the furnace. It was foreseeable that for a long time in the future, even if the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was closed, there would be many people waiting in line in front of the door. There were even professions that specialized in lining up for benefits. Anyway, everyone was a practitioner, and it didn't matter if they meditated on the street for a few days. In the central area of Zhongdao, safety could also be guaranteed. After everyone was clear about this rule, Shang Wani announced the start of today's draw. No matter whether anyone had different opinions or not, the decision made by the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce would not be changed. Unhappy? See you later. The cultivators who had won the lottery were naturally ecstatic when they bought the automatic alchemy furnace. As for the people behind them, regardless of whether they had the chance or not, they were full of envy and jealousy. Those who had the chance to draw were rubbing their palms together, hoping that they could win the lottery. Those who didn't have the chance to draw the lottery were already planning to queue up overnight and fight for a good spot the next day. At the same time, they could find a few more people to help them queue up together. If all the people who signed the lottery were on their side, wouldn't they be able to win the lottery? It had to be said that when these people started to think carefully, they were really strong. In the medicine sect opposite the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, Zheng Dongxing's face was livid. He walked back and forth in the room and couldn't help but drop something. Zheng Tianqing and Zheng Dongjue had set off for South State. The Tiandan Pavilion suddenly launched a new automatic alchemy furnace, and the medicine sect instantly became deserted. In fact, it was not correct to say that. There were still a lot of people in front of the door, but they had completely changed direction. The automatic alchemy furnace of the medicine sect was still in business. After all, the price and function were the same, and the alchemist who could condense the alchemy fire would mostly choose the automatic alchemy furnace of the medicine sect. The problem was how many alchemists were there in total in Zhongdao. How many ordinary practitioners were there? 1 to 100 was definitely more than 1 to 1,000. The famous medicine sect had already sold a lot of automatic alchemy furnaces, and the market for alchemists was almost saturated. After being attacked by the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, their business naturally plummeted. No, this matter needs to be solved by the center. They take most of the profits, and they can't just leave everything to the wind. I'll go look for them myself. Zheng Dongsheng couldn't take it anymore, and finally decided to look for Kong Mingming to discuss a solution. Although Kong Mingming mainly contacted Zheng Tianqing before, after all, Zheng Dongsheng had also talked with him, so it was reasonable for him to discuss with him this time. However, before Zheng Dongsheng could go out, Kong Mingming secretly came to find him in a cloak. "Shopkeeper Kong, you came at the right time. I was just about to look for you." When Zheng Dongsheng saw Kong Mingming, he was overjoyed. This meant that he was not the only one who was anxious about the automatic alchemy furnace of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. And Kong Mingming was also anxious. "I knew you would look for me, so I came to you first." Kong Mingming waved his hand and sat down honestly, as if he was the owner here, and motioned for Zheng Dongsheng to sit down and talk. Zheng Dongsheng didn't care about these trivial things. He quickly sat down and asked, "The automatic alchemy furnace of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce has nothing to do with you, right?" In terms of function, both sides were basically the same, and it was absolutely not a problem to say that they were of the same origin, so Zheng Dongsheng asked this. If he didn't know that Kong Mingming also wanted to mess with Lin Yi, he would even guess that the automatic alchemy furnace of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was also provided by the Central Chamber of Commerce. After all, in addition to the automatic alchemy furnace, there were many similar products sold by the Central Chamber of Commerce. Kong Mingming coughed slightly. Zheng Dongsheng's guess was quite accurate. The automatic alchemy furnace of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was indeed related to the automatic alchemy furnace of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, but the relationship was not as Zheng Dongsheng thought. Strictly speaking, the Central Chamber of Commerce was the one who copied other people's products. Now that the genuine one appeared, they directly destroyed the pirated one. What are you thinking? Of course it has nothing to do with us. Even if it has something to do with us, it is because they imitated us. Kong Mingming said shamelessly, and then stretched out his fingers to knock on the table a few times. Zheng Dongsheng didn't know what Kong Mingming wanted to say, so he could only put on a posture of listening attentively, gesturing him to continue. "Let's not talk about this for now. You immediately think of a way to get 1 or 2 automatic alchemy furnaces of the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce. I won't bring them back for research. As the genuine ones, we will definitely be able to figure out the key points very soon, and then we can target them specifically." Kong Mingming's words were dignified, but only he knew the truth. Zheng Dongsheng didn't doubt him. After all, on the Heaven Stage Island, the automatic alchemy furnace of the Central Chamber of Commerce appeared first, so it was normal for him to think that the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce was imitating the Central Chamber of Commerce. Someone came to report that there are not many things in stock. The first batch is only 20, so it is not easy to get them. You see, they have already started to draw lots to decide the buyer, so it is useless for me to go and queue up now. Zheng Dongsheng frowned slightly and looked in the direction of the Tiandan Pavilion with embarrassment. "That is why I asked you to think of a way to get one. Could it be that you can only think of queuing up to buy it? Swindle, kidnap, steal, rob, anything. You just need to hurry up and find what I want," Kong Xiaoming said confidently, as if this was something that Zheng Dongsheng should do in the first place. There was even a hint of contempt in this guy's eyes, as if he thought that Zheng Dongsheng should have done these things long ago, instead of waiting for him to instruct him. It was obviously opposite the Tiandan Pavilion, but he didn't know how to do such a basic thing. Didn't he know what it meant to know oneself and know the enemy, and be invincible in 100 battles? Zheng Dongsheng was very depressed, but he had to admit that what Kong Mingming said was still somewhat fallacious. It was too difficult to get an automatic alchemy furnace through the formal way, and he didn't want to support the sales of the Tiandan Pavilion. Wasn't it just swindle, cheat, steal, and rob? It seemed that everyone knew how to do it. "I understand. I will arrange this matter." Zheng Dongsheng nodded and immediately walked to the door. He called a disciple of the famous medicine sect and told him in a low voice to keep an eye on the gate and record all the people who drew lots. As long as they were not from big families or forces, they could be potential targets. Chapter 6139. After Zheng Dongsheng arranged everything, Kong Mingming stood up and said faintly, "That's it for now. I will go back and wait for your news. I hope you can give me a reply as soon as possible." "Shopkeeper Kong, rest assured, I will do my best," Zheng Dongsheng said with some discomfort in his heart as he cupped his fist slightly. No matter what, he was also a distinguished senior alchemist. It would be strange if he was happy to be bossed around by a young boy like Kong Mingming. If it weren't for the Central Chamber of Commerce, he wouldn't have been able to tolerate this. Kong Mingming's face under the cloak flashed a trace of disdain. He did not even raise his hands, turned around, and walked out directly, leaving Zheng Dongsheng to maintain the posture of cupping his hands, with a slight anger in his eyes. No matter how unhappy he was, Zheng Dongsheng couldn't show it. The cooperation between the Central Chamber of Commerce and the medicine sect was not an equal relationship from the beginning. He could only blame himself for being ignored by Kong Mingming. He still had to do what he should do. After half a day, the lottery for the Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce finally ended. Those who bought the automatic alchemy furnace were naturally overjoyed. Those who didn't could only blame their bad luck. Then they stood in the same place like a nail and refused to leave the gate of the Tiandan Pavilion, even if they were beaten to death. Shangwani was also helpless. This was going to affect the sales of his other products. However, it would not make sense for him to chase everyone away. He could only make a compromise and create a queue in front of the door. Then, he would give up the remaining space. At the very least, it would allow the customers to enter and exit the Heavenly Dam Pavilion. No one had any opinion on this. It was beneficial for everyone to be able to regulate the queue. Otherwise, if they rushed up in a mess, everyone would have no guarantee. The shop assistant from the famed medicine sect gave Zheng Dongsheng a name list. On it were the names of the 5 lucky people who had bought an automatic alchemy furnace. They were all people without any background or foundation. It was pure luck that they were able to draw the lot. Because of the 30-day restriction period of Tiandan Pavilion, except for the medicine sect and the center, it was unlikely that these 5 people would be targeted. However, it could not be ruled out that some families or sects could not buy an automatic alchemy furnace, so they simply recruited them. Although their own strength was not very good, with an automatic alchemy furnace, it was equivalent to having a 5th-grade alchemist, which was very cost-effective. Zheng Dongsheng had already made arrangements. After getting the name list, he immediately sent people to contact the 5 lucky people. Swindling, bluffing, threatening, and enticing them, he used every means possible. With great difficulty, he obtained 2 of the automatic alchemy furnaces and quickly sent people to the Central Chamber of Commerce. However, before nightfall, a message came from Kong Mingming, asking Zheng Dongsheng to continue collecting the automatic alchemy furnaces of Tiandan Pavilion, and the cost will be deducted from the Central Chamber of Commerce's share. Zheng Dongsheng almost spat out a mouthful of blood. The Central Chamber of Commerce's share will be taken away every day. There was no new business at all. How could there be a cut? This little bastard was finding a way to squeeze him dry. In the central area of Middle Island, Zheng Dongsheng did not dare to do anything like stealing and robbing, so he paid a great price for the 2 automatic alchemy furnaces. Now, that Kong Mingming still wanted them, Zheng Dongsheng could only pinch his nose and send people to the opposite side in disguise. If they could buy a position in front, it would be okay. It was much less than the cost after the fact. The reason why the center continued to ask for the automatic alchemy furnaces of Tiandan Pavilion was that 2 were not enough. After getting them, the technicians of the center prepared to dismantle one first and reverse deduce the structure of the automatic alchemy furnace. However, just as they removed a panel, the most high-tech control device made a soft sound, and wisps of green smoke floated up. The magical automatic alchemy furnace became an ordinary alchemy furnace. Miss Luan, the automatic alchemy furnace of Tiandan Pavilion Chamber of Commerce, has an anti-dismantling device. Our technological strength is not enough to crack it. Why don't we teleport back to the secular world and let the people there dismantle it? The technicians reported expressionlessly. Their main research direction was biological genes. pure electronic technology was indeed not comparable to that of the secular world. Wan Xiaoru did not think much about it and agreed with his proposal. The remaining one was sent to the wormhole to be teleported to the secular world. However, this automatic alchemy furnace could not be teleported at all. It was only decomposed into particles at the entrance of the wormhole. Then it was forcibly reorganized and thrown back. Everyone stared at this lump of metal dumbfounded. How could they still see the appearance of an automatic alchemy furnace? Since the wormhole was opened, such a thing had never happened. It was really unbelievable. After receiving the notice, Luan Xiaoru personally rushed to the entrance of the wormhole. When she saw the lump of metal, her expression was extremely solemn. That little girl Han Jingjing's research on wormholes has reached such a level. Not only can she destroy teleportation, but she can even forcibly interfere with the reorganization of objects. Her existence is already our biggest trouble. Luan Xiaoru sighed softly and shook her head slightly. Han Jingjing's technological ability had already exceeded the control of the center. Automatic alchemy furnaces were just small tricks. It did not matter how well they sold. However, the wormhole was different. Luan Xiaoru was even considering whether to kill Han Jingjing at all costs. Unfortunately, she also knew that killing Han Jingjing was basically no different from killing Lin Yi. It was really not a good idea to do it for the time being. Miss Luan, the medicine sect has sent 2 more automatic alchemy furnaces of Tian'an Pavilion. Should we continue to try teleportation? A technician from the center bowed and reported. He could see that Luan Xiaoru was not in a good mood, so he did not dare to speak too loudly. Without cracking the wormhole technology in the automatic alchemy furnace, do you think teleportation will work? Send them all for research. No matter how damaged they must dismantle this automatic alchemy furnace. Luan Xiaoru ordered coldly and then turned to leave. Regarding Han Jingjing's matter, she still had to think about how to deal with it. As for the medicine sect, they were just a small role anyway. Let them fend for themselves. The miserable Zheng Dongsheng did not know that he was no different from a speck of dust in the eyes of the center. However, when he received a notice that more automatic alchemy furnaces of Tian'an Pavilion were needed, he really wanted to die. If others knew that the competitor, the medicine sect, had repeatedly bought the products of Tian'an Pavilion, it was almost time to take down the brand of the medicine sect and burn it. In contrast, the money lost in the purchase process was not a big deal. When Nakajima fell into the frenzy of buying automatic alchemy furnaces, the flying spirit beast that Lin Yi and Li Zhaoyi rode had been flying in the thick sea fog for 2 days. Chapter 6140. Under the influence of the sea fog, an ordinary person's divine sense was almost the same as the range of vision, and the range of vision in the sea fog was at most 3 to 5 meters in front of them. However, Lin Yi was not in this category at all. In fact, the strength of Li Zhaoyi's divine sense was also very strong, but it was much worse than Lin Yi's, so most of the risks that had been avoided were not felt by her. Lin Yi, why has it been so peaceful along the way? We haven't encountered any danger at all? It's completely different from the legends. We haven't lost our way, have we? After the initial awkwardness, the relationship between Li Zhaoyi and Lin Yi finally returned to normal, and they spoke much more casually. Why? Do you want to encounter any danger? No problem. I'll fulfill your wish immediately. Lin Yi smiled faintly. This strange girl really had nothing better to do. Wouldn't it be better to travel safely? You know that's not what I mean. Li Zhaoyi turned her head and gave Lin Yi a dirty look. After the two became familiar with each other, her expression was also much richer, no longer the cold poker face that she had when they first met. Don't worry, the direction is correct. In 2 days at most, we can reach the periphery of the Wayark Sea in the southern continent. I hope your directional disc can be used there. Lin Yi looked at Li Zhaoyi playfully. If the Jade disc could be used in the Wayark Sea, it would save him a lot of trouble. However, this kind of heaven-defying luck was probably unlikely to happen so easily, right? Li Zhaoyi's pretty face blushed slightly. She felt a little guilty at the mention of this matter, so she could only snort softly and deliberately turn her head to raise her chin, pretending to be arrogant and disdainful to avoid this topic. He smiled faintly. He did not continue to speak, but controlled the flying spirit beast to slightly adjust the angle of its advance. In his divine sense, there was a flying, ferocious bird circling in the sea fog 5 miles away. Originally, he could have avoided it, but since Li Zhaoyi felt that there was no danger and was bored, he decided to find it to relieve his boredom. From the aura emitted by the flying, ferocious bird, it could be judged that its strength was not strong. It should have just broken through to the early stage of the profound ascension stage, and it would not be a problem to say that it was slightly stronger than the great perfection of the nascent soul stage. For ordinary cultivators, it was an extremely dangerous existence, especially in this kind of sea mist, where it would naturally have an attribute increase. But in the eyes of Lin, even if it was at the early stage of the mountain opening stage, it was not a big deal, let alone a mere early stage of the profound ascension stage. After getting a little closer, Li Zhaoyi also sensed the existence of the flying beast. Turning his head, he said in surprise, "There's a flying beast in front of us. You didn't fly over on purpose, did you? Little junior sister is really smart. I want to see how the fighting power of this kind of flying, ferocious bird that lives in the sea mist is. If we encounter one with the same strength as us, should we run away or try to fight?" He said nonsense with a serious face. If he said that he found the flying, ferocious bird because he saw that she had nothing to do and wanted to find something for her to do, maybe Li Zhaoyi would kick him off the flying spirit beast. Li Zhaoyi looked at Lin suspiciously. She always felt that these words were not very credible, but it sounded somewhat reasonable. She couldn't find a reason to refute it. Before she could figure out, the flying, ferocious bird had already discovered the approaching flying spirit beast. It immediately flapped its wings and silently pierced through the sea mist. It drew a perfect arc in the sky as it prepared to launch a sneak attack from the side. Unfortunately, Lin and Li Zhaoyi's divine sense could ignore the obstruction of the sea mist. The sneak attack of this flying, ferocious bird looked like a joke. "It's quite cunning. Little junior sister, why don't you try to deal with it first?" Lin smiled faintly and suggested calmly. On the surface, Li Zhaoyi and the flying, ferocious bird were evenly matched. However, considering that the fighting power of the flying, ferocious bird was stronger than that of a human cultivator of the same level, and that they were in a special environment like the sea mist, its real fighting power was 1 or 2 levels higher than what it looked like on the surface. Li Zhaoyi was a little eager to try, but after hearing what Lin said, she was a little reluctant. "Why should I try just because you told me to? I'm not interested. You go get rid of it, and we'll hurry on our way." Li Zhaoyi's Tsundere personality flared up. She turned her head to the side and said coldly with a pout, "Well, since you're not interested, forget it." Lin shrugged, and when the flying, ferocious bird approached, he casually shot out a lightning arc. With a slight crackling sound, the flying, ferocious bird, which thought that it was moving as stealthy as a ghost, was caught off guard and hit the lightning arc head-on. Then, its whole body turned black and smoked, and it fell down with a shrill scream. Although Lin did not kill it, before the numbness caused by the lightning arc disappeared, it would definitely fall into the sea. In this sea region filled with sea mist, there were powerful sea beasts everywhere. Without the strength of the mountain opening stage, or even the earth opening stage, they were not even qualified to divide their territory. It could be foreseen that after the flying, ferocious bird fell into the sea, it would meet a miserable end. Li Zhaoyi's face was very dismissive, but in fact, she admired Lin Yi's strength very much. They were both young people, and both had the title of genius, but whether it was strength or alchemy, he seemed to be able to firmly suppress her. With this guy accompanying her, Li Zhaoyi inexplicably felt at ease. There was a slight splash below, and the flying, ferocious bird fell into the sea. It was unknown whether it could still fly alive. Lin patted the flying spirit beast lightly and smiled. "Buddy, hurry up and get out of here lest you get besieged." As he spoke, Lin Yi's divine sense had already scanned that there were several flying ferocious birds surrounding them. They should be attracted by the cry of their companion, who fell into the sea. There were high and low strengths, ranging from the early stage of nascent soul stage to the great perfection of profound ascension stage. It was no wonder that this sea mist was regarded as a natural moat. Once the flying spirit beast was lost in the sea mist, sooner or later, it would become the meal of these flying ferocious birds. He was a little scared when he thought about it now. At that time, he and Huang Xiaotao were really ignorant and fearless. They were able to pass through safely. Their luck was simply invincible. After hearing Lin Yi's words, the flying spirit beast of Dan Hall flapped its wings, and its speed increased by 2 times again, rolling up the thick sea mist around it. Following the guidance of Lin Yi, it flashed through the gap of the encirclement that was about to close. Lin Yi, my compass has failed. Li Zhaoyi didn't know whether Lin Yi was flying in the right direction, so she took out the sea chart compass to check the route, but found that they had entered the magnetic field area of the sea mist. The pointer on the compass was spinning randomly, and it couldn't indicate the direction at all. Chapter 61:41. Li Zhaoyi's slightly flustered mood suddenly calmed down. Sure enough, asking Lin Yi to go to the South Continent with her was the right choice. His calm and collected look was easy to infect her. As long as he was there, it seemed that any problem could be easily solved. Suddenly, Li Zhaoyi's heart was inexplicably flustered again. But this time it was completely different from before because she found that she seemed to have unknowingly developed an inexplicable sense of dependence on Lin Yi, which suddenly made her feel a little overwhelmed. Lin Yi did not notice Li Zhaoyi's sudden silence, only thinking that she was still worried about the failure of the compass. Anyway, there had been this kind of cold situation between the two from time to time these days, so he did not doubt it at all. The last time he went to the South Continent with Huang Xiaodao, they did not encounter a situation where the magnetic field was chaotic. Lin Yi said that it was okay, but in fact his heart was a little heavy. Fortunately, his divine sense was still effective, and he finally passed through this area without any danger. For the rest of the way, Li Zhaoyi was even more silent than before, as if she had returned to her cold temperament when they first met. Lin Yi took the initiative to speak several times, but he did not get any decent answer. So he simply hurried on with his journey. After more than a day, they finally flew out of the thick sea fog area, and there was a feeling of sudden clarity in their divine sense and vision. We are very close to the Wayark waters. Look at those black spots in the distant sky. They're the flying spirit beasts ridden by the cultivators of the Wayark waters. Lin Yi stretched out his hand and pointed into the distance. For more than a day, the two had not spoken much. Now that they were in the South Continent, was she still not going to speak? This weird girl was really weird, falling into such a low mood for no reason at all. Lin Yi really didn't know what was going on. Well, we are finally in the South Continent. Li Zhaoyi sighed softly, and no one knew what she meant. Fortunately, she was finally willing to speak, and it seemed that she had returned to normal. In fact, Li Zhaoyi herself did not understand her own thoughts. After leaving the thick fog area and coming to the Wayark waters, their time alone was almost over. She seemed to feel a little relaxed in her heart, but also very disappointed. Before Li Zhaoyi could sort out her thoughts, 7 or 8 black dots in the distance seemed to have discovered them and were flying towards them. Lin Yi scanned them with his divine sense and didn't pay too much attention to them. They were all mystic ascension and nascent soul stage, and could be categorized as non-threatening. The only thing that surprised him was that on top of these flying spirit beasts, only the one at the front was a human practitioner, and the ones behind were all spirit beasts in human form. It was no wonder that he could meet so many masters before entering the Wayark Sea. When he came to the Wayark Sea, the nascent soul stage was already a great master, and the profound ascending stage was even more powerful. But now, because of the intervention of the spirit beasts, the former great masters had become ordinary people. Lin Yi, those flying spirit beasts seem to be coming for us. Li Zhaoyi calmed herself down and said calmly. Although there were a few who were stronger than her, she was not worried about any danger at all. Maybe they are here to welcome us? He smiled faintly. Of course, this was nonsense. The Wayark Sea had never had the habit of welcoming outsiders, but there was no shortage of robberies. Come to think of it, the first time Lin, Yi, and Huang Xiaodao had come to the Wayark waters, that idiot Chunketian had stopped them and caused them trouble. So, seeing the flying spirit beast in the distance, Lin, Yi immediately felt a sense of familiarity. Li Zhaoyi turned around and glared at Lin Yi. Although she had never been to the South Continent, she would not be naive to think that someone would really come to welcome her. The speed of the flying spirit beasts on both sides was extremely fast, plus they were opposite each other. In a breath, they had already closed the distance visible to the naked eye. Without using his divine sense, He could clearly see that on the flying spirit beast at the front was a very young fellow at the peak of the middle stage of the nascent soul realm. In Lin Yi's eyes, this was nothing, but if he was in the South Continent in the past, he would definitely be an overlord. This fellow was not seen in the competition of the 5 major escort agencies last time. Could it be that he was a rising star who had recently emerged? To be able to lead a group of powerful spirit beast experts, he could be considered to have some ability. As for the spirit beasts at the back, there was no need to ask to know that they were from the spirit beast clan. Even the periphery of the Wayark Sea at the edge of the South Continent had their experts. It seemed that the spirit beast clan's control over the South Continent had reached a very high level. Hey, stop for this, young master. The young man at the front flew closer and shouted at Lin, Yi, and Huang Xiaodao. The flying spirit beast on their side stopped in the air first. Lin Yi did not want to pay attention to them, but since they blocked his way, he might as well ask them about the situation in the Wayark Sea. Who are you? I've never seen you before. Don't tell me you came from the sea mist. The young man's eyes lit up when he saw Li Zhaoyi's peerless beauty. He asked casually, but his eyes never left Li Zhaoyi. Li Zhaoyi frowned slightly and glanced at him in disgust. She pulled a long face and showed no interest in talking. He smiled faintly. We're from a Zhenduan Sea. We lost our way and came here. This must be the Wayark Sea, right? May I know how to address you? So you're from a Zhenduan Sea. You're lucky to have gotten lost here. The young man waved his hand carelessly. He did not even look at Lin Yi. Instead, he continued to stare at Li Zhaoyi and smiled wickedly. This chick is quite good-looking. The rarest thing is that she's very powerful. She happens to be the cauldron that Master needs. If we take her back, he'll definitely be satisfied. This trip wasn't in vain. When the time comes, I'll be able to drink a few mouthfuls of soup. Go capture her. One of the spirit beast experts behind him nodded. Don't worry, young Master Lu. She won't be able to escape. Before he finished speaking, the spirit beast released his aura. With a light tap of his feet, he flew directly from the back of the flying spirit beast. He bent his right hand into a dragon claw and grabbed Li Zhaoyi's arm at lightning speed. You're just at the peak of the early stage of mysterious ascension. How dare you be so arrogant in front of me? He snorted coldly. He flashed in front of Li Zhaoyi and threw a simple punch. Violent chi surged toward the opponent's claw and collided with it in the air. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.